Where the fuck's my phone? Okay. Wow. It's been so long. Holy shit. Okay, how does one tweet? What are some other stupid tags I could use? Sure. Whatever. Let's go with that. Ugh. I'm so irritated that maybe I should leave. Cause Wow, I haven't been on my mouse and keyboard in so long. I'm feeling nostalgic. That's something that you could say. Okay. Duolingo. I think that's... We've synced your progress to the new and improved Japanese course content. Fantastic. Express how I feel. 学校は楽しい... Oops. Oh, why is it so loud? 楽しい. Hi, Chicken Val. How are you doing? Yeah, it's been a hot minute. I haven't streamed in I think 2 weeks now. Cause my sister was whatchamacallit. She came home to visit from Switzerland, so I had to I'm doing pretty good. You know, being chilling. I ate a lot in the last few days, like I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, had a lot of good food because my sister came over for 2 weeks. She came with her boyfriend, and then she treated us to this sushi place, or not a sushi place, but it was kind of like an upscale Japanese restaurant in downtown Toronto. What was it called? Oh my. OMAI. And the food was interesting. That was the first thing that I thought of, and then we also had things like hot pot. A lot of it was just food. I feel like we didn't do anything not food related, but then again, I live in fucking Canada, dude. What else is there to do except take a walk? Okay, hold on. Let me focus up and quickly do my Duolingo. 練習は面白くないです. Practice is not interesting. But yeah, how have you been? It's you know, weather's been pretty nice as of late. I've been foraging. Can't listen right now. That teacher's class was interesting. This movie was interesting. この映画はとても面白かった。楽しくないですか? Are you not having fun? Insecure party host. Are you not having fun? Should I get more ketchup chips for you? I study study at home because class is difficult. Yeah, we're gonna read that once, once I fucking do all the housekeeping that I have to do. I haven't streamed in so long and I have to do my my Duolingo to fucking keep my streak. 申しません。面白い。I play piano because it is fun. Have you heard of this book before? It's a poetry book, so it's like a story told completely in rhyme. I don't know if there's anything like serious with prose and stuff, but yeah, it was a book that I read like years ago. It was published back in 2008 and I was doing something called Battle of the Books. Because I was like in elementary school or something, right? So Battle of the Books was where you had a list of 40 books and then you would read all of them. And Zorgamazu was on it. And it was a fun read, even back then. We ended up after the competition, because there was it was basically like a stupid trivia. A trivia to make sure that you read the books. And then after that, they had like one of the authors who wrote one of the books as a guest. And he was there and I purchased his book at the ripe old age of, I want to say like 9, maybe 9. Akimashita. Why the fuck is this lesson so long? Duolingo. Duolingo. 面白いから日本語を勉強します. I study Japanese because it is interesting. Wow. The teacher makes class interesting. Makes the class interesting? その本は面白かったですか? Okay. Yeah, do you have any books from like your childhood that really left an impression of you? On you? Of you? On you. Yeah, because there was Zorgamazu, which I remember, and then there was another one called like The Third Eye or something. And it was a book by an Indian author about a girl and a sister, I think, or no, girl and a brother who were getting haunted by something. Me and my vague ass memory. Okay. Yeah, there are 40 books in total. I tried to look for a list of them because, to be honest, like a lot of them are super nostalgic. Like Zorgamazu, like The Third Eye, and blah blah blah. Can't even remember, not gonna lie. I used to read all the time. Never do not. That's so real, dude. That's so real. This book is the first book I've picked up in, maybe excluding textbooks, maybe it's been a couple years since I've actually read a book. And now I'm graduated, so I'll never have to touch a textbook again. Fantastique, dude. Because the class is difficult, I study at home. 授業難しいから家で勉強. Oh fuck, I fucked it up. 勉強が okay. Yeah, okay. Holy shit, why did that Duolingo take me 6 fucking minutes, dude? Oh. Yeah, so we're just gonna bing chilling. Maybe we can get started. Although I will say, when I went home, right? The thing is with my family is when all of us are together, for some reason it always turns like into a nostalgia session where like we talk about, oh, you used to be so small, you used to be so young, like this is what you did as a child, right? I learned some really fucking shitty things about the people we used to know. So, hold on. Let me remember. Because it was actually low-key fucking crazy. So we used to have a family friend, right? I think my parents knew them through church. And so it was a mother, father, and then they had a son and daughter. And the daughter was older, right? At some point, I remember thinking, oh, it's been a while since you know, we've seen them, because we used to hang out all the time during Christmas or like during spring or during Easter and stuff. They would invite us over to her house. And we used to have a dog, or I used to have a dog named Bob, and he's been dead now for the last like couple years. But he lived for a really long time. And I only just learned that he almost got put down because of the mother in that family. So what happened was, one time she came over with her entire family and her son had a mosquito bite. And my dog, you know, he gets riled up pretty easily. He used to run towards you and like jump on you, you know, like a dog does. And so he ran up to the son and he gave him a lick on a mosquito bite. And then after that, the mom started like freaking the fuck out. She was like, oh my gosh, your son or your dog has given my son rabies. And so she ran out to 3 different emergency rooms and was like, oh my gosh, like this dog gave my son rabies. And all the doctors, they were like, did he get bitten by this dog? And then because she was running around to all these emergency rooms saying like this dog has rabies and has infected my son with rabies, we got investigated by some like fucking, I don't know, dude. Like apparently an inspector came to our house and was like, oh, you know, like I just want to make sure that your dog doesn't actually have rabies because we have this report that we have to just make sure is like perfectly chill. And like, oh my god, dude. My mom, she was saying like, oh, you know, things turned out okay, so like I don't hold it against her, like I totally understand. But I was like, damn. Are you fucking for real, dude? Yeah, and the thing is, she was so convinced that her son had gotten rabies because she searched it up on Chinese Google. Because she was a Chinese lady. She was so convinced because she searched up on Chinese Google, how can my son get rabies? And it said, if you get licked, you have rabies. She almost flew her son out to China as well. Can you imagine? I'm willing to bet that the son is probably at least a little bit traumatized. Maybe even has a fear of dogs because he was really young when it happened. He was maybe like 10. 10, between 10 to 12. And having your mom scream that you're probably gonna that you probably have rabies and that you're 100% gonna die is probably not that comforting, you know? I hope he doesn't have a fear of dogs. My dog was really cute. Fucking psychos, man. Okay, besides that, for real though, I know, me and my sister, we were both saying that if some lady did that to us, we would just cut him off. Fucking crazy, dude. Oh, also, okay, my mom had an old bestie. I think they aren't friends anymore just because, like, they've grown distant, not because anything bad happened. Well, I say that. But so at a time, she was living really close to us, my mom's bestie. And she had a son named Mike or Michael. And the thing is, what's the past tense of flee? Ran away. They ran away from Chinese government officials, or like because what happened was, I don't know, like maybe the son was really young at the time, but he ended up first of all biting someone and then beating their ass. So then the mom, she started panicking and she was like getting extorted because the person that the son beat up was rich or something, or like had a lot of power. So he was like, oh, your son like did this to me, make sure you pay up. And so they're expected to pay, I think, $100,000 or something. So my mom's bestie said fuck that and ran away to Canada. And then after that, she was taking care of me and my sister for a little bit, or helping pick us up from school. And my sister said that this one time she ran right past a couple red lights, ran right past a stopped school bus, which is illegal. Dude, what the fuck? Oh, and she fed my dog chocolate. So It's also kind of fucked up, dude. Holy shit. My dog's been through a lot. My dog has been through so much. And he still lived to 17 years old. What a fucking champ. Okay. Besides that, maybe we can get started with the book. I'm pretty excited. This is just kind of what it looks like. It originally had like a paper sleeve that I lost because I didn't take care of my books as, you know, a 10-year-old child. Yeah, it has nice illustrations. Oh, fuck. It has nice illustrations too, which is why I had the camera on. I was hoping it would be like a show and tell kind of deal. Or you remember in like kindergarten, you would sit in a circle. Sit in a circle, and then your teacher would show you a picture book and be like, bam. A very epic pan. Okay. This is Zorgamazoo by Robert Paul Weston. Chapter 1 is A Shadowy Form. Getting high nerves. Here is a story that is stranger than strange. Before we begin, you may want to arrange a blanket, a cushion, a comfortable seat, and maybe some cocoa and something to eat. I'll warn you, of course, before we commence, my story is eerie and full of suspense, brimming with danger and narrow escapes, and creatures of many remarkable shapes. Dragons and ogres and gorgons and more, and creatures you've not even heard of before. And faraway places, there's plenty of those, and menacing villains to tickle your toes. So ready your mettle and steady your heart. It's time for my story's mysterious start. We begin in a subway under the ground, where people and trains go rolling around, in hurrying haste and in scurrying mobs, wandering off to their ponderous jobs. Much of the time they would linger in vain. They would stand in the station awaiting a train. They would push in between the ticket machines, like fish huddled into a tin of sardines. They clutched at the purses and cases they brought, anxious and angry and overly wrought, hoping a train would come barreling past, pick them up quick, and dash away What? Wait, I fucked up already. Hoping a train would come barreling past, pick them up quick, and dash away fast. There was one little girl who waited as well, a girl by the name of Katrina Cottrell. I can't look at Katrina's name and not think of the Drag Race audio that's like Katrina. Yeah, Katrina Cottrell. While everyone else was busy or bored, this one little girl should not be ignored, for unlike the crowd, she was never inert. Her senses were sharp and awake and alert. She kept to herself, but she wasn't alone. She was joined by her guardian, Mrs. Corbone, who stood with Katrina clutching her hand in the flickering light of the passenger stand. They were hunched near the tunnel of mortar and brick, where the lighting was dim and the shadows were thick. Where Katrina was curious, squinting her eye, she could swear that a creature was shuffling by. At first it was vague, just a shadowy form, like a ship in the mist or the fog of a storm. So she gaped with a steady, unfaltering stare, determined for certain, was anything there? Yet try as she might, the tunnel was black, obscuring the path of the train and the track. She was nearly ready to give up. She nearly was ready to give up her search. God, I'm so bad at reading out loud. When the subway arrived in a lumbering lurch, it showered the station in a glimmering light, and that's when she saw something scurry from sight. "Hey, Krabby," she whispered, "there's something I see. It's smaller than you, but it's bigger than me. It's loping around in the tunnel. I swear, it looked like a warthog. Or maybe a bear?" "Don't call me Krabby," spat Mrs. Corbone, in a violent and rather vociferous tone. "You're a fool and a fibber," the woman accused. "Such ludicrous lying is never excused." You see, my good reader, this had happened before, since Katrina Cottrell, she loved to explore. On her way home from school, whenever she could, she would cut through a park. She would cut through a park or a forested wood. And more often than not, in some part of a park, where no one else went until after dark, she would see something strange, something utterly odd, something hulking or hairy, and possibly clawed. She then would run home with a story to tell, where Mrs. Corbone would do nothing but yell. "Katrina!" she'd holler. "You ignorant thing! Your brain must be made out of paper and string. All this rot about yetis and monsters and locks, they're nothing but lies. They're nothing but crocs." Old Krabby, you see, was a bit of a witch. In the pit of her heart was a serious glitch. She didn't have time for the fanciful things, like pirates and gadgets and creatures and kings. She believed that a girl should be perfectly prim, and shouldn't be guided by whimsy and whim. As such, she was certain Katrina was nuts. Too lively, too feisty, and too full of guts. Yet the two were related. Yes, that much was true. But how they were linked, Well, nobody knew. The relation was distant, hard to define, yet connected somehow by a family line, like 41st cousins, 10 times removed. The bloodline, however, had never been proved. And so once again they had come to collide, with each of them taking their opposite side. As they stood near the tracks where under the ground, Katrina thought beasties were creeping around. "But Krabby," she cried, "it really is true. It looked like a thing that escaped from a zoo. But I'm not a dullard and I'm not a dunce, so you gotta believe me if only this once." Mrs. Corbone said nothing at first. Her face went all flushed, as if ready to burst. Then her lips twisted up into a sort of a grin, and she wrangled Katrina by ear and by chin. Leaning in close so Katrina could hear, she whispered maliciously into her ear, "You listen to me. This lying must end. When we get home, here's what I intend. I will call up a friend, a lobotomy doc, a talented man at the butchery block. His scalpels are polished to shimmering shine. He'll slice from your eye to the top of your spine. He'll cut your brow from the top to your head. What? He'll cut from your brow to the top of your head. Your brain, he'll replace it with something instead. Something quite nice, like a pastry or cake. Or why not a succulent caribou steak? Yummers. Your original brain he'll lock in a box, for that's what they do, those lobotomy docs." Before the poor girl could swallow her fear, Mrs. Corbone gave a tug on her ear, so writhing and wriggling and rinsing in pain. Wincing? Rinsing? Did I just say rinsing? So writhing and wriggling and wincing in pain, Katrina was bullied inside of the train. The subway struck up with its clackety-clacks, rolling into the tunnel and over the tracks. Katrina sat quietly watching the wall. It was smeared with graffiti and scandalous scrawl. Water break. Okay, Katrina sat quietly watching the wall. It was smeared with graffiti and scandalous scrawl. She was searching the dark for the thing she had seen. What was it? She thought. What could it have been? At first there was nothing that seemed out of place, but everything changed when she made out a face. It was surely a face she would never forget. It peered from the dark in an odd silhouette. It wasn't a hog or a bear or a cat, though perhaps if all three were stirred in a vat. Muddled and mixed into something anew, a wildebeest polar bear antelope stew. There were horns on its head, all twisty and curled. They shot from its noggin, and they spiraled and swirled. Its shoulders, however, were stocky and stout, and a thicket of whiskers, and a thicket of whiskers hung down from its snout. But perhaps the most shocking, incredible sight she saw when the creature leaned into the light. Not a soul would believe that it wasn't a lie, but this creature, this thing, it was wearing a tie. The train sped ahead and the shadows were black. The creature was lost in the Stygian black. It was gone in an instant, gone in a blink, but not before giving Katrina a wink. She turned to her guardian, there at her side, and she was certain the truth could not be denied. "You see now," she said, "you can't disagree. You looked out the very same window as me." A creature, a thing. It was just like I said. Perhaps there are more of them farther ahead. But Mrs. Corbone was severely irate. She spat when she spoke, with fury and hate. "A creature?" she shrieked. "A mysterious beast? You're crazy, Katrina, and that's saying the least. You listen to me, you insufferable brat. What you saw, it was probably only a rat. So I've had quite enough. You tell me no more. Your lies and your tales and your fibs I abhor. If you tell me again, I'll do it myself. I'll scoop out your brain for a spot on my shelf." Jesus Christ. "But didn't you see it? His horns and his beard? And he winked, I believe, which was awfully weird." Mrs. Corbone made a shriek like a bell. "Now you listen up, Mrs. Katrina Cottrell. I'm the boss around here. I'm your guardian, see? Why else would your parents have sent you to me? Well, I'll tell you why. Because they know what's best. That's why they made such a special request, that I be the one to raise you up right, so you'll learn to be quiet and nice and polite. So from now on, you pest, you'll not say a word. You'll say nothing silly or strange or absurd. You'll be a good girl and you'll do what I say. You'll shut off your mouth for the rest of the day." So Katrina was silent. She made not a sound, but her eyes remained actively darting around, watching the weave of the wandering crack, examining close every cranny and crack, in search of the thing that had briefly appeared, all hairy with horns and a whiskery beard. A creature? This is fun, dude. A creature? A beastie? A troll? Or fuck, dude? A gnome? Look at this, dude. But she saw nothing more all the way home. Okay, this is chapter 2. Wow, dude, we're making good speed. Chapter 2, a likable guy. Look at that fellow. What do you think was sneaking around in the shadowy passages under the ground? Katrina, of course, was thoroughly sane. It was Mrs. Corbone who was lame in the brain. I know this, good reader, for I can reveal the creature she saw, he was perfectly real. If you met him yourself, that beast in the dark, you would say, "Why, hello there," or some such remark. I'm certain of this. Would you like to know why? Because Morty the Zorgle's a likable guy. A Zorgle, you ask? Now don't be absurd. A Zorgle's not real. It's not even a word. A Zorgle? What's that? You're tempted to ask. Well, it's fine if you do, as I'm up for the task. The Zorgles are creatures fantastic and rare. On their heads they have horns and disorderly hair. They have pot-bellied stomachs, their shoulders are broad, yet their fingers and toes are commonly clawed. Yet despite being fearsome in manner and mien, the Zorgles are known to be fairly serene. They live underground in tunnels and chutes, in meandering... Reading out loud is so fucking hard, dude. In meandering caverns of tangled up roots, okay, there we go, which are fed by a system of gullies and streams, in cities like places you see in your dreams. Now perhaps you are thinking, hey wait, what's the deal? A Zorgle? You're crazy. I doubt that they're real. In that case, I ask you, and be honest please, would you call observation your top expertise? After all, people often ignore what they see. Just think for a moment, I'm sure you'll agree. When someone sees something especially odd, they assume it's fake, or a fishy facade. They think it's a trick of the shadows and light, their brain playing games with the powers of sight. The reason for this is decidedly plain. Too often we use just a speck of our brain. Too busy, we say, too tired and such. Daydreams? Oh no, I don't use them much. So if you're a person who's tired or pooped, and if the edge of your mind has been drearily drooped, then of course you'd ignore any Zorgly face that perhaps you would see in some shadowy place. So if you've no time for the whimsical things, for pirates and gadgets and creatures and kings, if you spurn the fantastic to never return, then put this book down. Put this book down, for it's not your concern. Look at this, dude. Ah, you're still here, then I'm grateful for you. This book needs a reader, as all of them do. Should I keep it in frame? What do you think? Kind of hard to read and hold it. Okay. Now his name is so fucking hard to say. Now Mortimer Yorgle, or Morty for short, was a Zorgle, you see, of a singular sort. He was certainly pleasant and friendly enough, but his edges, I'd say, were a little bit rough. For instance, his necktie was always awry, his trousers were striped with a ridiculous dye. On each of his hands he wore fingerless gloves, and a rumpled-up raincoat was one of his loves. His home underground was a humble abode, a tumble-down hovel on Rumbleton Road. I think I remember the author read maybe the first 3 chapters of the book, because I do remember him asking us, oh, does anyone know what a hovel is? And obviously, like, we were so fucking stupid back then, because we were fetuses. And I think nobody knew. But now I know what hovel means. It's just like a little house. In a neighboring neighborhood. Dude, my eyes. In a neighborhood known to be rowdy and rough, near the slums of a town called Underwood Bluff. He worked on the staff of the newspaper crew at the Underwood Telegraph Rumor Review, where the office was stormy with printers and ink. They made such a racket you could hardly think. Like a clock running wild, its machinery broke. The office was raging with newspaper folk, yelling, "I've got the scoop," or "Hold off the press." How the newspaper printed was anyone's guess. The nature most often of Morty's reports were the innings and outs of Zorgledom's sports. Maybe I should have done like a warm-up before this. These words are hard to say. From judo to jousting, he covered it all. But his favorite, of course, was Zorgly Ball, an elegant game of tremendous finesse, a cross between cricket and swimming and chess. When it came to the game, he was sort of a geek. In fact, every day, or at least every week, he would go to the stadium, take him a game, or visit the ball player's hallway of fame. The hallway, of course, was his favorite place. To Morty, it harbored a mythical grace. With its stark wooden walls, with its trophies and plaques, with its statues of ballplayers polished in wax. He always would pause at the end of the hall, where a special exhibit emblazoned the wall. The display was an ode to his neighborhood team, whom Morty held up in the highest esteem. The Underwood Titans, that was their name. They were commonly known as the best in the game. I'm getting kind of tired, dude. Reading out loud is tough. Okay. Though Morty was fond of the place where he worked, his duties were something he commonly shirked. Shirked. What a word, dude. He often came late, not a second too soon, and sometimes arrived at 1:15 noon, which gave Porterman Shorgle, the editor-chief, 3 ulcers, gastritis, and nothing but grief. One particular morning when Morty blew in, old Porterman shouted above all the din. "Morty," he bellowed, "you dithering dupe, you stink like a heap of my goopiest poop. Just look at the time, we're down to the crunch. Geez, Morty, look here, it's practically lunch." Morty just smiled. Well, what can I say? I do my best work at the end of the day. "There's no time," cried his boss, who was slumped in his chair, who was nervously tugging the wisp of his hair. He stared for a moment, not saying a word. "Hang on," he said finally. "Haven't you heard?" "Heard what?" Morty asked. "I got here just now. If I should have heard if I should have heard something, I'd like to know how." Porterman scoffed in a worrying way. "It's big news," he exclaimed. "On the cover today. They've all disappeared. No one knows what to do. They've vanished. The Zorgles of Zorgamazoo." "Oh yeah," Morty said. "I've heard of that place." A thoughtful expression passed over his face. "Never been there myself, but my pop's been a lot. He explained it all once." How do you what's the word? Enunciate. "Never been there myself, but my pop's been a lot. He explained it all once, but I've mostly forgot. Anyhow, don't you worry, I'm sure they'll be back. They probably got hungry and went off for a snack." "What's the point?" said his boss with a roll of his eyes, with one of his patented Porterman sighs. "You're a good writer, Mort, and that's why you're here. But the next time you're late, you'll be out on your ear." Morty promised, again, to mend up his ways. "Sure, from now on, for the rest of my days, you'll never again have to holler and harp. I'll be here on time at 8 o'clock sharp." "I hope so," said Porterman. "Start putting things right, but for now, get back to work. Get out of my sight." So that's what he did, and as fast as he could. But not back to work as he promised he would. Instead, Morty left, the same as before. He tiptoed away and snuck out the door. But what would make Morty go skulking away after coming to work so late in the day? The answer, good reader, is just a bit sad, and first you must get to know Mortimer's dad. Bortleby's Yorgle. These fucking names, dude. Bortleby Yorgle, his father was called, and a little old Zorgle, entirely bald, and ever since Morty was only a tyke, his father and he had been highly alike. Both of them always were rumpled a bit. Their clothes never had a particular fit. Their gravelly voices were nearly the same, and Zorgly Ball was their favorite game. Yet alike as they were, they could never connect. They differed in only a single respect. Adventure. Look at that. Adventure. That was the difference, you see. The one thing on which they could never agree. While Morty was known as a stick in the mud, his pop loved adventure. It was there in his blood. Morty, however, was unlike his pop. When it came to adventure, he was rather a flop. He was cut, you could say, from a different cloth, with a nature that bordered on cowardly sloth. Yet his father was daring. He'd wandered around, to wherever adventure was commonly found, in the pit of a cave, on the edge of a cliff, in search of the how, the why, the what if. In his youth he had traveled from village to town. He had been an explorer of fame and renown. But things change over time, as often they do. And slowly they changed for old Bortleby too. These days, he was sick. He was riddled with ills. He was no longer known as a seeker of thrills. He suffered, you see, from a breathing disease. He'd wheeze and he'd sneeze until weak in the knees. There were pains in his feet. There were pains in his head. He spent most of his time in a hospital bed. And that's why Morty neglected his job. His job. And why everyone thought he was kind of a slob, since whenever he could, he would visit his pop at Our Lady of Zorgeldom Hospital Shop. You know what that reminds me of? I saw a school the other day that was, you know, one of those Christian schools that always feature like Our Lady of. It was such a stupid name. It was Our Lady of Help. Our Lady of Help. That gives me the same vibes as I have purse. I have purse. Okay. Together they'd sit by the radiograph. They'd chat about life, and they'd listen and laugh. When visiting hours would come to a close, Morty would say, I should go, I suppose. When trying to muster a smile on his face, he would scoop up his pop in a clumsy embrace, knowing perfectly well that tomorrow, perhaps, it might be the day of his father's collapse. Yet in spite of a moment so gloomy and cold, old Bortleby's tone would be rosy and bold. I'll see ya, my son, he would merrily say. I'll betcha tomorrow's a beautiful day. When Morty got home, he'd have work to be done. Can't English? Yes, I can't English. Hi, Roy. How are you doing? I can't fucking enunciate, dude. Try saying Bortleby Zorgle. What's his name? Bortleby Yorgle 10 times fast. Dude, give me a break. Give me a break. Okay, when Morty got home, he'd have work to be done, an article due that he hadn't begun. He would sit at his typewriter rapping the keys while tapping his feet and bobbing his knees. How have you been? Okay, hold on. Maybe we'll take a little break. I can show off my nice little bookmark. Bam, dude. Oh god, you can see the fingerprints. But I had this for a long time. It was when my neighbor, she went to Japan like 7 years ago? Maybe 8. And she brought it back for me as a souvenir. And I've kept it ever since. Look at me! I take good care of my things. Oh yeah, I'm really realizing. Sick bookmark, I know, dude. It's got holes and everything. it's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm realizing that English is hard. Just chillin'? Fantastic, dude. Fantastic. Guess what? Fantastic news. Jazz hands. I'm done school. Which means now I can actually be a fully unemployed adult. And I won't have the excuse that, oh, I'm a student. To be a fucking rat, dude. It's a little bit of a travesty. But it's whatever. Okay. Fun employment. That's good. Okay. He would sit at a typewriter rapping the keys while tapping his feet and bobbing his knees. There at his desk by the light of the moon. Hopefully I get a job soon. Yeah, my parents have been really they've been like, oh, you should find a job as soon as you can, but like I kind of want a break. I mean, what are the chances I even find a job right now? My friends we're all kind of getting cooked. I think out of the 40 of us who graduated, like 15 of them are on vacation in like Japan or Thailand, and like 3 of them are working. 3 of them max have a job. Where was I? Okay, he would sit at his typewriter, rapping the keys, while tapping his feet and bobbing his knees. There at his desk by the light of the moon. What did I graduate with? A Bachelor's of Science. Ka-chow. Yeah, technically, the convocation hasn't happened yet, so I'm probably still a registered student. But yeah, I'm a STEM. I'm a woman in STEM. Blech. Fucking disgusting, dude. There at his desk by the light of the moon, he would comfort himself by humming a tune. Nerd, I know. Actually, I like to consider myself a woman in STEM. I'm tired, dude. Reading out loud is tough. Okay, with a bit of a song, it was Morty's belief. He could cope a little bit better with feelings of grief. Perhaps he was right, but here's the thing. Late in the night when he started to sing, he wouldn't just whistle, he'd rattle and roll. His singing would often fly out of control. So his neighbors would holler, His neighbors would holler, hey, quit it, you creep. You're singing off key and we're trying to sleep. So he might settle down. He might even stop. But he still would be troubled with the thoughts of his pop. Popcorn reading? What's popcorn reading? Is it like in class they would ask you to read a book at random? Damn. Honestly, real. I don't know if my what's it called? Stage fear? What? What is that? Stage fright? That shit's got me paralyzed. But here I am. Here I am 10 years later. This book was published back in 2008. It's been like 15. What? What's my math? I'm a science graduate, not a math graduate. Okay. Vintage, yes sir. I didn't take good care of it though. How can you ask like some 10-year-old child to take good care of a book? There's some rough bits and I lost the cover for it, which is why it's just plain black. But at least you can see Zorgamazu. Yeah. Yet somehow he finished, alone in the night. He'd work until darkness was turning into light. I'm utterly certain, without any doubt, it would have kept going, day in and day out, if it weren't for events that would alter his plan. On the day his amazing adventure began. It looks pretty sick, that's what I'm saying, dude. That's probably why I got rid of it in the first place. Just a suspicious black book. A black book of poetry. But for now, my good reader, the greetings are done. The story of Mortimer Yorgle's begun. The moment has come to move onward and find Katrina and Morty, their fates are entwined. Look at this, dude. Very edgy. Very, very edgy. Yeah, chapter 3. The lobotomy doctor. I don't know if you were here for the first chapter. Essentially, there's this girl named Katrina Cottrell. And she has this... Oops, I just lost my page. Is it the real Hermione? It is. Timothy, welcome. Okay, so essentially, this girl, Katrina Cottrell, she's related somehow to this. This is her guardian, Mrs. Corbone. And Mrs. Corbone is like a bitch. So Mrs. Corbone always thinks that girls need to be like super normal and quiet and prim and proper, and Katrina is just like, wow, I think I just saw like a magical beast. So Mrs. Corbone is planning on getting a lobotomy for Katrina. That was the entire first chapter. Okay, chapter 3, the lobotomy doc. We now shall return to Katrina Cottrell, who is feeling unhappy and rather unwell. She had sadly been locked in her bedroom alone by the hand of her guardian, Mrs. Corbone. Interesting. Perhaps the one question you're anxious to know is regarding her parents. Like, where did they go? Well, in stories like these, as I'm sure you have read, the parents quite often are thoroughly dead, run over by rhinos or gored by a moose, or murdered when somebody poisoned their juice. In this case, however, I'm sorry to say, their parents weren't dead, they were merely away. They were wealthy, you see, they were captains of trade, adept in the ways in which money was made. So they traveled a lot, a tremendous amount, while charging it all to a corporate account. These fucking rich people, man. Tax evasion. This is fucking tax evasion. Theirs was a world of banking and loans, of virtual meetings and cellular phones, of foreign investment and business affairs, of taxis and boardrooms and leathery chairs. All their life was spent up in the air, incessantly flying from here and to there. From Lisbon to London, from Paris to Rome. They had gone off on business and never come home. Why, Katrina was born on the fly, on a company jet that was up in the sky. Her mother, of course, was underprepared. A baby? How awkward, the mother declared. I haven't got time for raising a kid, and I doubt that I'd want to even if I did. When her father got word that Katrina was born, he grimaced a little and got on the horn. He called his accountant to raise a concern. On babies, he asked. What's the rate of return? These fucking parents, man. So you see, my good reader, her parents were duds, too much of the blue in both of their bloods. This was the reason Katrina was thrown, together with Mrs. Grimelda Corbone, which of course made Katrina abundantly glum, to be languishing under her guardian's thumb. It's not fair, she was thinking. It's simply not right, being locked in my room without dinner tonight. Such were the thoughts that were filling her head as she hungrily hunched on the edge of her bed. But as her anger was reaching its peak, from the silence below came an ominous creak. Katrina was puzzled, she thought with a frown. Who could be calling to this part of town? A prowler, perhaps? Or a murderer might. Who else would come visit so late in the night? She climbed to her knees with an ear to the floor. The author went crazy on these words. I know, dude. He had the entire thesaurus by his hand. She climbed to her knees with an ear to the floor. With her hands on the carpet, she listened for more. From below came an almost inaudible drone, but she knew who it was by its nasally tone. Old Krabby, she thought in a logical leap. Right now the old bat should be snoring asleep. Yet old Krabby was up. She was talking as well. But to why? And to whom? Thought Katrina Cottrell. Drake! So what's happening with that? All I understood was J. Cole tried to start beef and then he was like, actually I respect Kendrick and Drake. And then Kendrick wrote something and then Drake wrote something and then Kendrick wrote something else that said you actually have a secret child. So why is it so dramatic? Do people still like Drake? Or was it? But to why and to whom? Thought Katrina Cottrell. You don't know what's going on? Me neither, dude. Me neither. I keep on seeing these like let me adjust my microphone. I think it's kind of slipping. I think I saw a couple of these summary things that are like, oh, here's the timeline of what happened, and I was like, what? Drake baited him basically, but Drake also saying Kendrick is a wife abuser. Yeah, but then didn't Kendrick like clap back with something else? I was like, oh, was it Drake who said that? Oh, at least I didn't look at Millie Bobby Brown. What? Heard the beef is fire? I don't know about that, dude. I just know everyone's talking about it. I guess it's tea. It was then she recalled what old Krabby had said, and what she was planning to do with her head. Could it really be true? Was she being sincere? She'd invited some wacko and now he was here? Katrina stood up. It would likely be best. Bum, 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 bum. I'm stressed. Katrina stood up. It would likely be best to break out of her room on a miniature quest. She would snoop just a bit, go sneaking around. Drake being called a pedo and Kendrick an abuser, but it all seems like false claims? Dude, I saw some person who was like, oh my gosh, isn't it crazy that Kendrick released his diss on the same day as his like 11-year-old daughter's age or her birthday? I don't fucking understand this shit, dude. She would snoop just a bit and go sneaking around. She would sort out the source of this mystery sound. She pulled up the carpet where no one would look, revealing an almost invisible nook. And there in the dark was a treasury trunk filled with a clutter of jumble and junk. Most people would think it was nothing but fluff, a collection of doodads and whatchamastuff. It's a lot if you haven't kept up. Yeah, I don't know, dude. It's not really my scene. To Katrina, however, one thing was true. This stuff came in handy. You just never knew. She dug up the spring from a grandfather clock. It was just the right thingy to jimmy a lock. She twisted the spring and she made it a key. She was rather inventive, I'm sure you can see. Then gripping the spring in her sensitive fist, she opened up the latch with a flick of her wrist. This is so fucking hard to read, dude. Okay, then quietly pacing with caution and care, she crept down the hall to the top of the stair, and down a few steps like a gossamer ghost, she peered round a lopsided banister post. A man stood below on the entranceway mat, his collar turned up to the brim of his hat. He took off his gloves, his cap, and his coat. He loosened the muffler that covered his throat. His features were drawn and incredibly dark. Oh, hi! Tomo utan-san. Minikite arigato. Yeah. That much is true. I'm a... Dude, can I even consider myself like... I can consider myself a STEM graduate, but I don't know if I consider myself smart, to be honest. I think I graduated by the skin of my teeth. I got a 50 on one of my final labs, but... That's whatever, dude. That's whatever. That gave me 15% of my grade, so I'm happy. His features were drawn and incredibly dark, but his eyes were aglow with a sinister spark. Old Crabby was there. She was wringing her hands, like a criminal hatching felonious plans. She quietly spoke to the man in the hall. "Doctor, I'm glad you could answer my call. It's nice you could... It's nice you could visit so late in the night. I'm certain your skill will set everything right. You'll cut out the naughtiest parts You'll cut out the naughtiest bits of her brain, so only the parts that are normal remain. I'll do what I can, the stranger? The stranger replied. Your need for a surgeon cannot be denied. Water, sure, man. Thanks, dude. I'll do what I can, the stranger replied. Your need for a surgeon cannot be denied. Because, madam, your case is a serious one, so let us discuss it, just what's to be done. Above in the stairwell, Katrina was still, her fingers and throat in the grip of a chill. The stranger, she sensed, by his timbre and tone, was a sort to send shivers that shook to the bone. Now here's what Katrina so furtively heard. Furtively? That's a fucking word, dude. So here's what Katrina so furtively heard as her guardian spoke in a whispering word. It's my girl. She's upstairs and she's coming unwound. Why, she's quite a few ounces short of a pound. Delusions of grandeur, that's what she's got. She thinks she's so special. She thinks she's so hot. She thinks of herself as courageous and brave. But doctor, I wish she would simply behave. But her brain is diseased. It's gone on the blink. She's completely insane. She's right on the brink. Why only today she redoubled my doubt by claiming some creature was skulking about. Some sort of a beastie with horns on its head and wearing a tie. Or that's what she said. As he listened, the doctor was thumbing his case. Bars, that's what I'm saying, dude. As he listened, the doctor was thumbing his case, silent and solemn and gazing in space, his brow furrowed up like a fisherman's knot, and cried, We must strike while the iron is hot. Her condition is worse than at first I'd assumed, so we mustn't delay or else she's doomed. It's clear to me now that certainly she's got parapsychotic delusion disease. There's only one method to fix it within, which I'll demonstrate now before I begin. He opened his bag with imperious pride, and Katrina saw horrible things were inside. Needles and skewers that filled her with fright as they glinted and shined. What's the past tense of shine? Shone in the shadowy light. The doctor reached deep into his medical case and took out a tool too gruesome to face. It looked like a drill, but especially made, with clappers and claws and a rotary blade. He fondled this thing with the subtlest touch. I love it, he cried, oh, ever so much. It's the finest, most delicate tool of its kind. It's the cranial puncturing mincer of mind. This dude's a psychopath. And if you'll excuse some innocuous fun, I'll demonstrate now how the mincing is done. He spun on his heel and he leapt in the air, recalling the cadence of Freddy Astaire, but never as nimble, not nearly as spry, more like a hippo with mud in its eye. He leaped and he danced with his terrible tool. He flourished and spun like a blathering fool. Madam, he puffed, when his dancing was done, in the surgical world I am second to none. So you've nothing to fear, for I'll snip off her top. I'll flip up her lid and I'll give her the chop. But old Crabby was bored. She looked up at the clock. She was eager to get to the butchery block. Dr. LeFang, she said with a smile, I don't mean to rush you or hamper your style, but perhaps we should start by moving upstairs. It's best if Katrina is caught unawares. It's not that your banter is dreary or dull, it's just that I'm anxious to crack at her skull. They both looked above at the balcony ledge, but Katrina had already left from the edge. She had scampered away and back to her bed, trembling with panic and dizzy with dread. It would seem she was caught in a bit of a scrape, and the only way out was to stage an escape. So she packed up a sack full of clothing and socks, and much of the junk from her treasury box. Then she tied up her sheets in a delicate line, like Tarzan would do with a tropical vine. One end she tied to the foot of her bed, while the other she tossed out the window. What, dude? While the other she tossed out the window instead. Then she leapt out herself, swung down on the sheets, rappelling below to the dark of the streets. All up in her bedroom, old Krabby was there, ranting and raving and tearing her hair. She had searched all the rooms from hither to yon, and discovered Katrina was thoroughly gone. She howled with a shriek that was bitter and shrill. It was just as the doctor leaned over the sill. "Look, out the window," he said with a scoff. "I wonder why all my patients run off." Mrs. Corbone cried, "Don't mess around. We can catch her again if we get to the ground." She wrangled the doctor away by his cuff, and they sped down the stairs in a tumbling huff. But when they arrived at the base of the stair, Katrina was gone, and barely by a hair. Oh, by barely a hair. Oops. She had fled. She was free, not a moment too soon. She had scampered away by the light of the moon. Yes, she had escaped when the timing was right, but what dangers awaited out there in the night? Meanwhile, old Krabby was red as a beet. She was gnashing her teeth. She was stomping her feet. She clutched at the collar of Dr. LeFang, subjecting the man to a hairy harangue. Harangue, look at this word, dude. Harangue. "You listen to me, you incompetent quack. If it wasn't for you and your yakety yak, I'd have my Katrina now under the knife. She would finally give me some peace in my life. But instead of my peace, as I'm sure you can guess, I get only a lousy, lamentable mess. So listen up good, you botchery buff. You bungler, you dunce, you pandering puff. It may take us a week, or a month, or a year. We will find my Katrina and bring her back here. Then using that miserable mincer of mind, you'll finish the job that you were assigned." So Mrs. Corbone and the doctor as well began searching the streets for Katrina Cottrell. They scoured the ground, they hunted, and hoped, they rummaged and rooted and grobbled and groped. They sniffed with their noses, they narrowed their eyes, they even looked up to the dark of the skies. They listened as well, but heard nothing at all, just the flaps of the sheets that hung from the wall. Dude, this is such a good chapter. Okay, we're on chapter 4. How did teachers back in elementary school not fuck up? Maybe it's because they were reading picture books. This is a little bit more intense than a picture book. Okay, chapter 4 is A Fluttering Flame. With Katrina, her story began with a leap, eluding LeFang, the nefarious creep. Cope! Cope! This is really insensitive for people without books, to be honest. Yeah, I know, Andre. It's even harder if you don't know how to read English. Like me, dude. Oh, dude, I find myself like pausing and freezing and like needing to process for a second what the fuck I just read. Because what the fuck is a harangue, dude? Brief Google intermission. Harangue. A lengthy and aggressive speech. Okay. Wow, dude, this author actually had every single fucking thesaurus and dictionary at his hand. Anyways, how have you been, Andre? Should I tell you guys the story that I said earlier that was kind of fucked up? So I used to have a dog, right? I'm just gonna talk. I'm just gonna talk about it. The author is him I know, dude. Mr. Weston. Okay, so used to have a dog. His name was Bob. He lived to like 17 and a half. He may as well could only have lived to like 10 years old because tell me why. I had an old family friend. We used to like eat dinner with them during Christmas and stuff. So it was a father-son. Hell yeah, dude, I'm glad to be back. Rip Bob. Okay, no, because it's so fucking stupid. So there was a mother and father, and then a daughter and son. And so the son at the time was like, he was a younger brother. He was, I want to say like maybe 10. So he came over to our house one time. They very well knew that we had a dog. So my dog, Bob, ran up to him and licked his leg, and he had a mosquito bite there. And then all of a sudden, the mom starts freaking out. She's like, "Your dog just gave my son rabies!" And so she ran to 3 different emergency rooms, waited almost 24 hours for one of them, and she was literally like with the doctor. She was like, oh, this dog gave my son rabies. Rabies is crazy. I know it gets worse, okay, because all the Canadian doctors, they were like, was your son bit? And she was like, no, but like he got licked and that means he got rabies. And then obviously the doctors were like, okay, they were like, okay, can you fuck off, because like I have more important issues than, you know, a kid who has nothing wrong with him. So then she searched up on Chinese Google. I don't know what it is, like Weibo or something. She searched up on Chinese Google. She was like, can my son get rabies? And it said yes. And so she almost flew her son back to China to get a Chinese doctor to treat him. But because she had been going around to all these different like emergency rooms saying that, oh, this stupid dog with rabies, this fucking Bob has rabies. They ended up sending an inspector to our house to make sure that my dog actually did not have rabies. And in the case that he was actually like diseased or something, then they would have put him down. What? Should have lied to her and took her son to China for no reason? True. No, I have nothing against the son. He was actually like pretty nice, pretty normal. Maybe a little bit traumatized now, cause like what the fuck, dude? Imagine like you're 10 years old and your mom is freaking out and saying that you're like you have something that's 100% gonna kill you because a dog licked you. Oh my god, dude. Okay, anyways. Yeah, me and my sister, when we heard this, we were like, what the fuck? What the actual fuck? We would have cut him off if that happened to us. But my mom, the entire time, she was just like, oh, haha, like, it was just a little joke. Nothing bad actually happened. It's just my friend, like, being goofy. What the fuck, dude? What the fuck? Okay. Let's return to Mr. Mortimer Yorgel. Okay, with Katrina, her story began with a leap, eluding LaFang, that nefarious creep. If your mom acted like this in front of girls, she ain't your mom no more. It's so embarrassing. And also, I can't believe that I did not know this until, like, this weekend. The entire time, I really thought that it was, my dog who had scratched the sun. I did not know that it was just he licked a mosquito bite and the mom was being an overdramatic crazy person, dude. Okay, Mortimer's story was hardly the same. It began with a sort of lottery game. A game with a prize that was truly bizarre. Not a nifty new house or a nimble new car. They put him down? No, they didn't. The inspector came to our house and he was like, hey, I just wanted to make sure that your dog was like not diseased. Yeah, and he lived to the ripe old age of 17 and a half. Even though, dude, tell me why. Justice for Bob, that's what I'm saying, dude. At least he lived a long life, but tell me why. There was another lady that my friend, or that my mom used to be friends with, who fed him chocolate. She fed my dog chocolate, dude. I know, dude. And then she had a son. Okay, here's the story. Here's the entire story with that lady. So that lady had a son who, they lived in China at the time, right? And so the son, he bit and he beat someone. Listen, when my mom was telling the story, she was like, she has like a Chinese accent, right? So she was like, oh, he beat someone. And I was like, beat as in like attack, or bit as in like that? And she said, beat and bit. So this dude beat and bit like some rich Chinese boy, right? And so that Chinese family was like, what the fuck? You know, give us $100,000 as like repayment for what you did to my child, right? So because of that, they flew to Canada to escape from those people who were trying to extort them. And then that's how they met my mom. And so after that, like my mom's friend, she was taking care of us for a little bit. She like drove me and my sister home every once in a while. And my sister recalled this one traumatic experience in her car where she ran past like 3 red lights and ran right past the school bus, which was illegal because like what if you ran over a kid, right? And then she fed my dog chocolate, dude. These people, man, these people. Okay. A game with a prize that was truly bizarre. Not a nifty new house or a nimble new car. Not the tastiest meal or the fanciest clothes. A prize that was nothing like either of those. Do you guys say either or either? Childhood was a movie, I know. We were saying to my mom that she should just write like a memoir. Because she told me another story about her grandfather. Either TBH. Honestly real. Yeah, she was telling us another story, I think about her grandfather. So my great grandfather. He was at the time like maybe 12 or something. And he had like older brothers, 3 or 4 older brothers, and they were caught something. Timothy. Yeah, one of them was caught saying something against like the CCP or something. And so they dude, like I don't know how to say this in a way that isn't like really serious. His father and the rest of his siblings got gunned down for as like a punishment for saying that shit, right? And then so he ran away. He hid in a sewer and he took like the sewer path and like ran to one of the neighbors' houses, and they're like, yo, sorry dude, like I know we're friends, I know we're homies, right? But we can't hide you because our house is too small. Go into another neighbor's house. So he jumped the fence, went to another neighbor, and they're like, sure, we'll hide you. And so when the officials came knocking on the door, they were like, hey, where's this little boy, right? Like we're trying to like dude, what the fuck, dude? Right? He survived. And then like a couple years later, he had disappeared from everyone's mind and he came back because at the time I think he was engaged to my mom's mother. Mom's grandfather? Mom's grandma. Yes, they were like engaged at the time. So he came back and he was like, "Hey, what's up, dude?" Because all of the officers who had gunned down his family died under mysterious circumstances. Ooh. What the fuck, dude? I can't believe I'm just finding this stuff out. Fucking psychopath, dude. This is crazy stuff. Okay, anyways. Not boodle, not moolah. What the fuck is a boodle? I'm not gonna lie, Timothy. I was so stressed. I was so stressed this weekend because she was saying all this shit and I was like, what? Because she always says it super nonchalantly. She was just like, yeah, haha, my great grandfather's like family got gunned down. Haha, joke. I was like, what? What the fuck, dude? Okay, a boodle is money, especially that gained or spent illegally or improperly. Okay, fantastic. Okay. Take a sip of water. Okay. Not boodle, not moolah, not money or gold, or anything else you could handle or hold. What sort of prize could it possibly be? Read on, my good reader, and soon you will see. It was late in the night in Underwood Bluff, as Morty tramped home in a bit of a huff. All day he had toiled at the Rumor Review, at a legion of deadlines too soon to be due. So staggering home, he was bleary and beat. He was sluggish and slow. He was dragging his feet. There was only one thought in the whole of his head, to find his way home and to climb into bed. But he couldn't quite yet. He still had to stop and check on his pop in the hospital shop. It was then something happened, a scent on the breeze. It blew up his nose, and he thought he would sneeze. The odor was acrid. The odor was hot. Like a casserole burning inside of a pot. Ugh. Reading is hard. Reading is so fucking hard, dude. It took out the whiskers that grew in his nose. He stopped in his tracks. He suddenly froze. Holy smokes, Morty thought. A fire? But where? He snuffled and followed the smell in the air. It led him away to the end of a block, where Mortimer Yorgel was in for a shock. There stood the ballplayer's hallway of fame. It glimmered within with a fluttering flame. Oh no, Morty cried with a panicky yelp. The hallway! It's burning! Hey, somebody help! Here, do I sound too sarcastic when I say shit like this? Oh no. Okay, he ran in a circle and waggled his arms. Hurry, he hollered. Sound the alarms! But nobody came running to Mortimer's aid. He was all by himself, completely dismayed. For here was his favorite place in the world, going up in a fire that flickered and swirled. Feeling woozy, he wobbled and fell to the ground. No one was coming. There was no one around. The thought of the trophies. Oh, he thought of the trophies, the statues and plaques, melting in puddles of silver and wax. And all of that history, all of it lost. It had to be saved, no matter the cost. It was then, to his horror, that Mortimer knew there was only one thing he could possibly do. He couldn't just sit here. He couldn't just wait. He'd been poked by the ficklest finger of fate. Alliteration. Bars, dude. But Morty and fate were like water and oil. W reader, thanks, dude. I'm trying my best. From the latter, the former would always recoil. So Morty did nothing. He slumped and he stared, while the firelight sizzled and fizzled and flared. Why me? Morty thought. I'm just a chump. I'm a rube. I'm a clod. I'm a sap. I'm a frump. Where are the sirens? Where are the lights? On this, the most terrible of all nights. And what if perhaps they just never came? Would it burn to a crisp? The hallway of fame? The answer, of course, was a definite yes. There'd be nothing left but a smoldering mess. And for even a chump, that was easy to see. Aw, crud, Morty thought. It's all up to me. He got up to his feet, his heart full of dread. He pulled up his trench coat over his head. He looked at a window that rippled with heat and willed himself forward on faltering feet. Then faster and faster, a blundering dash. He dove through the glass with a clattering smash. Inside of the building, the walls were ablaze. The smoke in the air was a murderous haze. Everything blossomed in yellows and reds, braided together in fiery threads. So it felt like the heat was 1,000,000 degrees, so Morty got down on his hands and his knees. Water, dude. Fucking dying over here. It felt like the heat was 1,000,000 degrees, so Morty got down on his hands and his knees. Bewildered and aimless, he started to crawl the length of the lofty, illustrious hall, randomly grabbing whatever he could, trinkets of plastic and metal and wood. He wormed to the end, where the heat was the worst, his mouth going dry as if dying of thirst. There, behind glass, in an elegant chest, was a relic more precious than all of the rest. A Zorgly ball that had once been flung by Cyril the Slinger Zib-Zorgel the Young. The hash-slinging slasher! In the very first Underwood Champions match, when balls were still woven from ravels of thatch. Morty opened the case and plucked up the ball, as the fire was rising to swallow the hall, abruptly erupting dude. Abruptly erupting Hold on. Abruptly erupting in flashes and booms. Blooms! Imbuing the room with its poisonous fumes. It was then Morty knew. The time was at... Hold on, wait, sidetrack. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. I was watching a TikTok the other day. Where is it, dude? I hope I liked it. Is it this? No, I don't know if it's this. I liked it. No, dude. No, okay, hold on. Brief intermission. Very, very brief intermission. Is it this? I don't know if it's this.
Be your partner for the next race. Sorry, Sue Ellen. It's a brother and sister race. Maybe there's a contest for lonely children after this. It's only children, DW. A lonely child is what you're gonna be when I sell you. I can be your partner for the next race.
No, but I liked one that was like a minute long.
What did you draw?
Oh, it is this one.
A dog, and he's bored. What did you draw? A stick. A stick? A stick from the park where you promised to take me today!
This is the one that I liked.
Francine, can I ask you a question? Sure, anything. Why don't you go back to your own house And
Stop bothering us!
well, it's too late.
DW was so funny.
Mama says he's coming. Yo, Ma, dear. I'm sick of sunshine. Sun, all the time sun. How about some rain around here? Is that too much to ask? Is it? Boy, look at the size of those feet. Where'd he ever buy his shoes? Was he the only giant president?
Lincoln wasn't a giant. The statue is much larger than he was.
Wouldn't you know it?
Didn't know there were savage like this. I know, sometimes.
I lost at video games and checkers. I lose at everything. I even lost my glasses. I'll help you find them for $5. Hey, DW.
Yeah, sometimes I remember that these are actually written by adults.
I'll be Simon. Simon says, hands on your hips. You said your name was Sue Ellen.
You said your name was Sue Ellen.
Doesn't that look nice on your brother, DW?
Arthur looks very outdoorsy in this rugged green coat. If he stands still, he looks like a tree. I can be your partner for the next race.
It's the lonely children. Okay, intermission over. Intermission over. Okay, well, we'll keep reading. Oh, where the fuck was I? Oh, abruptly erupting. I was having so much trouble reading this shit. Abruptly erupting in flashes and blooms, imbuing the room with its poisonous fumes. Nailed it. It was then Morty knew the time was at hand to blow this proverbial popsicle stand. But he hardly could see. The smoke was too dense. The heat all around him was more than intense. He snaked on his belly and made for the door, through inches of ashes that covered the floor. He might well have made it, but started to choke, inhaling a lungful of cindery smoke. All at once he was weak. He was gasping for breath. He was 2 or 3 breaths from the edges of death. His stomach was churning. His vision was blurred. If you said, "He's a goner," I would have concurred. But then he heard something, a series of thwacks, like the chopping of wood with the crack of an axe. And then something else, the tromping of boots, from Zorgles in bulky, voluminous suits. They stood around Morty, who lay like a log, whose senses were fuzzy and lost in a fog. But before passing out, he was never afraid. For the boots, they belonged to the fire brigade. So fucking thirsty. Dude, maybe I caught something when I was going home, because for the last few days my throat's been a little bit sore. Maybe reading a book is probably not the maneuver. Reading for an hour, what are we at? An hour and 18 minutes? Okay. When Morty awoke, he was tucked in a bed, an uncomfortable pillow supporting his head. In the room where he was, the lighting was bright, with the walls and the ceilings, the walls and the ceiling were blindingly white. He smiled to himself. He was hardly surprised. How ironic, he thought. I've been hospitalized. I thought he was gonna go to... I thought he was gonna be like, I'm dead, I'm in heaven. He looked down at himself and instinctively cringed. He was covered in cuts. His hair had been singed. I'm a loser, he thought. I'm a dough-headed klutz. What was I thinking? I must have been nuts. Welcome back, said a voice. It was gruff like his own, and Mortimer realized he wasn't alone. He rolled to his left, and there was his Pop. They were sharing a room at the hospital shop. Hi, Pop, Morty said. I screwed up, I guess. Just look at me here. I'm a terrible mess. Screwed up? Said his Pop. He was taken aback. A part of him wished to give Morty a smack. But I love what you did. Sounds like it was fun. And you know what they say, like father, like son. Yeah, right, Morty scoffed. Maybe you think it's cool, but I'm aching all over. I feel like a fool. I haven't felt this bad since I don't know when. I'll never do something that stupid again. Shh, said his Pop, as he nodded his head to the stranger who stood out at the edge of the bed. A respectable Zorgle, impeccably dressed, in a Chesterfield cloak and a cardigan vest. Who are you? Morty squinted. When'd you arrive? I don't need an embalmer, 'cause I'm still alive. The stranger said nothing to Mortimer's joke. He reached for the hand in the folds of his cloak. He came out with a document wound in a roll. An archaic and rather elaborate scroll. The stranger unfurled it. It flapped to his feet. The inscription was lush and was exquisitely neat. Dear Sir, he recited, beginning to read. The document's pompous. Punk. What? The... Punk. Okay, dear Sir, he recited, beginning to read. The document's pompous. Punctilious screed. We're gonna go with that. On behalf of the Bureau of Heroes and Quests, we acknowledge your deed, which plainly attests to your selfishness. Selflessness, bravery, vigor, and verb, as well as your steely, unwavering nerve. Thanks to your efforts. Wait, hold on, should we actually? Oh my gosh, Subway Surf for 10 hours? 10 hours? Okay, hold on. Hold on. Okay, no, we're actually gonna do this. Capture cursor? I don't care about the cursor. Come on. Oh god, everything's gone. Subway. I just named the Subway. Okay, hold on. Transform. I'm a professional streamer. Give me a second. Crop? 200. Gotta crop more. No. Gotta crop more. 1,000. Okay, hold on. Wait, I'm cooking. Hi, Brandon. Hold on. Give me a second. 300? Maybe a little bit more. 400? Oh, is that too much? Let's do 350. Oh no, that's not enough. Holy shit, dude. Let me cook. Okay, hold on. No, I gotta make it a little bit more narrow. Maybe 400 was better. Okay, hold on. Sure, we'll go with that. The fucking brain rot, dude. Is this a TikTok stream, dude? Dude, you know what the content I've been enjoying recently is I've been getting this person on TikTok, or not TikTok, YouTube Shorts, where they go on a TikTok live and they'll screenshot a picture of the person. This is an eye-catching stream, dude. The thumbnail is gonna be insane. Absolutely insane. So this dude, he'll take a screenshot of the person who's like live streaming, and then he'll go into some photo editing app, change their gender, or like add a wig or something. And then he'll be like, oh, we look alike. And then sometimes the person will be like, what the fuck? Wow, I'm so not funny. The way that I describe things is so bad, dude. But it's pretty funny. It's pretty good. Anyways. Thanks to your efforts in tackling the blaze, we can rebuild the hall and its many displays. Such spirited courage should not be ignored, which is why we confer you this noble reward. The stranger then paused. Hold on, wait, I'm actually getting distracted. It's on my main monitor. I might have to cover up the Subway Surfers a little bit. Oh shit. Oops. not my talk with Zane. Oh god, dude. Hold on. I forgot that's a display capture. Oops. I'm a professional streamer. I promise. Okay. The stranger then paused, leaning over the bed. He held out his fist and momentously said, to Mortimer Yorgel of Rumbleton Road, this lottery ticket is humbly bestowed. What a hard word to say. The ticket was crimson, its lettering blue, saying, we need a hero, and maybe it's you. When Mortimer read it, he said with a smile, I think that'll pass. This isn't my style. I know how this works. I know what you do. You send people off to run errands for you. But it's usually terrible, dangerous stuff. And for the both of us, what the hell is this? Content. This was Andre's idea. It's not me. It's you. But it's usually terrible, dangerous stuff. And the both of us know it's nothing but gruff. Cause you make it seem noble and daring and cool. I agreed. I agreed. But I'm like so easy to whatchamacallit. Oh yes, that too. Or like the stupid like 5-minute crafts where they make a fucking cosplay weapon out of a hand blade or a saw or something. Fucking crazy, dude. It's gonna be the most cracked stream ever. Okay, and both of us know it's nothing but guff, because you make it seem noble and daring and cool, but you're not duping me. I'm nobody's fool. In this game, the winner does nothing but lose. They won't come back alive, whoever you choose. So honestly, sir, I would love to comply, but a hero? Not me. No, you got the wrong guy. No, I think not, the stranger replied. The selection is hardly for you to decide. Why, this is an honor, a privilege, sir. You cannot decline and you cannot defer. Okay, for the record, if I ever got something like this and I was like, hey, you know, whoever's playing is going crazy. I know, this is a 40-minute fucking long video. My wife, 29F, and I, 32 male, have been in a long-term relationship, but recently I think she's been cheating on me. Yeah, if anyone came to me and was like, hey, you won this prize, but you have to go on like a life-threatening trip, and they're like, you can't say no, I would absolutely not, dude. Okay, you haven't a choice. You will come to draw, in accordance with Zorgaldom chivalry law. The stranger gave Morty the shallowest bow. What you hereby are hero material now. Then he turned on his heels and turned up his nose, and he left with the scroll and his marvelous clothes. Fat chance, Morty said. Like I'm gonna go. I won't be some stooge in a lottery show. But then, when he turned and he looked at his pop, the old guy was grinning. He just couldn't stop. Just imagine, he said, to be given the chance to rescue the world by the seat of your pants. That's what it means to be chosen, you see. And if I was young, they might have picked me. Old Borderly seemed to have stars in his eyes. Oh, Morty, he mooned. What a wonderful prize. Well, sure, Morty said. Maybe for you. But what if I won? I don't know what I'd do. From his pillow... Old Borderly lifted his head. We're different, I know that, he quietly said. But look at me here. I'm sick to the core. Me too. Me too, dude. Each morning I'm worse than the morning before. He gazed at his son, looked him right in the eye. It's true, someday soon I will probably die. Before then, I want you, my one only son, to have an adventure and maybe some fun. I know your chances. Well, they're not very good. Damn, Dad. What the fuck? I know your chances. Well, they're not very good. You likely won't win, but just maybe you could. So think of this thing as my ultimate hope. My one last request at the end of my rope. For a moment, Morty said nothing at all. He looked out the window and then at the wall. He looked at his pop, who seemed thoroughly drained, whose expression was hopeful, yet equally pained. Dude, my throat's actually fucked up. My throat is... Wow, this guy's really, really fucking zooming, dude. I don't know if I've ever played Subway Surfers for 40 minutes. Does this guy really never restart? Never? Oh wait, he does. He does. Oops. Spoiler. Okay, where was it? He looked at his pop, who seemed thoroughly drained, whose expression was hopeful, yet equally pained. Then Morty looked down at the slip in his hand. I'll do it, he nodded. But I don't understand. The details, they seem just a little bit thin. Like the actual prize. What will I win? Old Bortleby angled his mouth in a smile. The answer, he said, would come in a while. Sorry. I'm actually getting fucked up. Okay, chapter 5 is the lottery draw. This is the very, very cool illustration. It's a fancy machine with a little Yorgle. Zorgle? Are these Zorgles? His last name is Yorgle. Okay. The following night, by the Underwood Mall, at the Zorgaldom Central Community Hall, a billboard was posted, inspiring awe. Welcome, it said, to the lottery draw. Hundreds of Zorgles awaited inside. They came from all points, from far and from wide. Muscular Zorgles, Zorgles of might, Zorgles renowned to be good in a fight. For real, dude, I'm actually getting fucked up. Yeah, I think it's just a sore throat from, oh god, maybe I got COVID. 4 years? 4 years of COVID. I've had it maybe like 2 or 3 times. What if I got it again? I would not be surprised. What does one do? Okay, Zorgles were renowned to be good in a fight. There was also a stage and an orchestra band who started to play. The show was at hand. Our immune system! Our immune system! The curtains rose up and everyone cheered. Before them was something stupendously weird. A contraption like nothing that you've ever seen. An incredibly intricate marble machine. Oh god, this guy like suddenly stopping and like flashbanged me. What the fuck? There's ice? There's ice in Subway Surfers? Okay, no, I'm getting distracted, dude. I'm so fucking brain rot. Okay. It bristled with pulleys and spiraling tracks, suspended with rivets and wire and wax. Ugh. Okay, look at this fucking passage, dude. I feel like I'm reading the Bible. With miniature bridges, with pillars and piers, with levers and winches and clutches and gears, with pedals and treadles and spinners and spars, with pendulous pivots and balancing bars. With motors and rotors and rollers and ramps, the flickering bulbs and electrical lamps, with flingers and swingers and hinges and hubs, with grabbers and funnels and buckets and tubs, with clockwork propellers, mechanical cranks, and panels and chimneys and channels and planks. Nailed it. Nobody smoked? Nobody spoke. Who there would dare? An odd sort of peace had come into the air. The host of the night, the lottery boss, leapt up on the stage and sauntered across. A plump little fellow, this captain of chance. I don't know if you guys can hear it, my throat is so fucking cooked. A plump little fellow, this captain of chance, who twitched like his jacket was crawling with ants. Good evening, he bellowed. Welcome as well. Are you anxious to start? You are, I can tell. This machine, as you know, just off to my rear, is the reason you've come. It's the reason we're here. And what a machine. Why, isn't it nice? It's the Hero Selection divining device. Everyone clapped. They hollered and cheered, all except Morty. He was scratching his beard. An hour and a half, dude. How do people... Wait, really? Dude. Oh, shit. He just got fucking ka-chowed, dude. Look at him. Oh, what's he gonna get? What's he gonna get? 5 hoverboards? That's epic. 231 coins? Even more epic. Why is it like off-centered, dude? What can I... Hold on. Let me fix this transform. It's giving me the ick. By making off center like this. Is that better? Or is that too narrow? Hold on. Let's do 450 and then we'll make the other side a little bit wider. Okay, ka-chow. Easy. Where the fuck was I? I am an old man and I require assistance. Maybe I should lay in a hospital bed. What the fuck, dude? Okay. The lottery boss, he waited until the crowd once again was quiet and still. Your names, he went on, are within the machine. They're written on marbles. 919. When I yank on the lever, that's here by my... Is it lever or lever? Lever? That's here at my side. The 900 marbles will go for a ride. They will enter the funnel that starts at the top. They will tumble and roll till they come to a stop. Because only one marble will finally roll to the end, to the base, to the Destiny Bowl. The Destiny Bowl was more like a flask. It was heavy and broad, like a barrel or cask. On its side was a letter, which Morty could see, was written in rubies, a big letter D. D's nuts! Wait, Morty called, before we begin. You still haven't said what the winner will win. The lottery boss tipped the brim of his hat. Why, of course, he exclaimed. I was getting to that. You see, my good friends, there's adventure ahead. Perhaps you have read what the newspaper said. The countryside Zorgles have all disappeared. They were lost in the night, or so it was feared. It is feared? Fuck, dude. So the winner tonight wins a compass, a map, a flashlight, galoshes, a coat, and a cap. To help with the search where the going is rough, plus all kinds of other adventuring stuff. And then something better than all else combined. An expenses-paid trip to head out there and find the Zorgles who vanished with nary a clue, those countryside Zorgles of Zorgamazoo. To Morty, this sounded less of a prize, and more like a punishment put in disguise. But there wasn't much time to consider for long, for the orchestra started performing a song, and the lottery boss went over to stand in the place where the lever awaited his hand. Now remember, he said, that in any event, this machine is correct, 100%. It will magically choose from this clamoring mob the most suitable Zorgle for doing the job. He beamed at the crowd with his simpering grin. Now, let the lottery raffle begin. With his hand on the lever, he gave it a push, and the marbles came down with a whish and a wash. Fucking subway service is in my way, dude. Look at this shit, dude. Okay, brief little very epic pan. Then into the funnels and onto the tracks, down through the rivets and wire and wax, guided by channels and panels and planks, battered and clanged in mechanical cranks. Timothy, is my voice really that different? What the fuck, dude? Maybe I actually... Battered and clanged in mechanical cranks, over the motors and can't speak. Over the motors and rotors and ramps, under the glow of electrical lamps, crossing the miniature bridges and piers, rolling and reeling in winches and gears, spiraling down along spinners and spars, bouncing between all the balancing bars. Flung by the flingers and into the hubs, caught in the catchers and funnels and tubs. Then when the running was finally done, with odds that were more than 900 to 1, a particular marble... Really, dude? Am I that fucked up? Okay, we're gonna keep going. Maybe, hold on. Okay, we'll see. It's fucked. I feel that it's fucked. Okay, a particular marble was down at the goal, all alone on its own in a destiny bowl. Hi, Waffle. Look at this epic stream, dude. The brain rot. Should we give a quick synopsis? Girl whose guardian wants to give her lobotomy. Weird monster furry that hates adventure but is being forced to go on one. Also, my throat is fucking fried. Ugh. How have you been, Waffle? The lottery boss, he skipped and he'd hopped to the bowl on the floor where the marble had stopped. Could be worse, I could be playing Valo. Yeah, little change of pace for today. I think my throat would still be fucked though. I think we're just accelerating it by reading for the last hour and a half. He plucked it right up and read what it said. Then he paused, and he frowned, and he waggled his head. Fancy that, he said softly. I suppose this is right. Where's Mortimer Y? He's our winner tonight. All the Zorgles were looking around to see if this Mortimer Y could be found. Actually, water isn't helping either. Oh fuck, I just dropped my water bottle. Live reading fucked your throat too? Dude. I need like a lozenge or something. All of the Zorgles were looking around to see if this Mortimer Y could be found. Mortimer knew they were looking for him. He had won, though the odds were incredibly slim. It can't be, he thought. They've made a mistake. He was suddenly woozy and started to shake. His palms were all clammy. He thought he would faint, for he was no hero, no idol, no saint. He was just Morty the hack, and he sensed he was having a panic attack. But then he remembered his desperate dad, whose illness was growing increasingly bad. He thought of his pop in that hospital bed, swallowed in gauze from his hips to his head. Also, is it okay to call Mortimer a furry? Where the fuck was I? So, in spite of reluctance, confusion, and fear, the thoughts in his head were surprisingly clear. Are they a furry? Let me see if I can find you a picture of him, a little illustration of him. They describe him as a mixture. What was it? A mixture of like a wildebeest, a furry on furry. Violence is not okay. Yeah, he's like a mixture of like a polar bear and a regular bear, and he has horns. And he's wearing a tie, a very fancy tie. So OP. Okay, so in spite of reluctance, confusion, and fear, the thoughts in his head were surprisingly clear. He planted his feet. He started to rise. He went up to the stage and collected his prize. Back at the hospital, Mortleby lay, musing about the events in the day. His mind was befuddled with thoughts of his... Dude, I feel like my throat is splitting in two. His mind was befuddled with thoughts of his son, wishing and hoping that Morty had won. So when Morty arrived with a map in his hand, charting the course to a faraway land... Okay. Take a sip of water. Hi, Zane. Zane. The letter Z is such a hard... I've been saying Zorgle too much and now I've been saying Yorgle. Here's a little... Give you a little... Okay. So when Morty arrived with a map in his hand, charting the course to a faraway land, old Mortleby smiled. He instantly knew. I like disassociated for half a second and I lost the spot on my page. Old Mortleby smiled. He instantly knew. His incredible dream was incredibly true. Well, Morty croaked with a lump in his throat. Me too. They gave me this map, plus a cap and a coat. It's awful. I won, as you probably guessed. So they're sending me off on some sort of a quest. But I'm not the right guy, he fretfully said. I'm telling you, Pop, I'm in over my head. Don't be a scaredy cat, Mortleby teased. Can't you see that I'm happy? I'm terribly pleased. Just do it for me and wipe off the frown. Be happy, for once you'll get out of this town. He looked at his son and uttered a sigh. It was time he could see for saying goodbye. I hope, he said slowly, you have nothing but luck. But remember, whenever you're stuck in the muck, when the travels are rough and you're stuck up in a tree, remember this, Morty. You've always got me. Aw, Pop, Morty grumbled. I love you too. And that's why I'm going. I'll do it for you. Then they hugged one another, especially tight, and Morty set off that very same night. Okay. We're getting through it. We're on chapter 6. Chapter 6. The Gang of McCrook. The illustration. Look at how ratty they look. Honestly, same. Am I gonna read the whole book? This entire thing? Dude, honestly, we're like a quarter of the way through. I feel like it's not even that bad. We're getting through it. I'm speedrunning the entire book. Look at how fast I can spit these bars, dude. Listen, it's probably going faster because it is a poetry book. Did you only read like the... I know you read a smut book, Waffle. Did you only read the spicy part? Pretty plausible to finish it in this stream, you think? Oh, dude, my throat's gonna die though. Okay, you know what? We'll see. We'll see how far we get by 12. So an hour and 20 minutes from now. Okay, the Gang of McCrook. On the surface above, in the world that you know, Katrina Cottrell was a girl on the go. But where she was headed, she hadn't a clue. She just had to keep going. It was all that she knew. There was a lot more text per page, yeah. I for sure. This is just a nice little poetry book. Okay, yet a terrible rain was flooding the streets, falling in thundering, merciless sheets. Katrina was soaked. She was I can't fucking... I'm gonna lose it, dude. 8 to 10 chapters and had to stop. You know what? I think we can get to maybe chapter 10 today. I don't want to be too ambitious. Yeah, I don't know. In terms of like feeling, I feel fine. Like I'm feeling actually pretty happy. Play some Destiny 2. Dude, he just ran himself into the side of the whatchamacallit, the train track. He killed himself on purpose. Yeah, I just don't know if my throat can hold out. Okay. Katrina was soaked. She was practically drowned, but she had to escape. She couldn't be found. For Mrs. Corbone was hot on her trail, tracking her down by tooth and by nail. Destiny 2, pause champ. And with her that lunatic, Dr. LaFang, who would mince up her mind into lemon meringue. Yeah, we're in the presence of Mr. Waffle. Mr. Chad Waffle. What she needed was shelter, some haven or place to escape from the chill and the rain and the chase. It was then that she spotted a place she could hide, at the end of an alley off to the side. A hatch in the wall that might be a door, or an entrance that wasn't in use anymore. Look at him, changing his fit. Press the play. Come on, hurry up. Hurry up, dude. Hurry up. There we go. Chatathy? Dude. How could we do it for Waffle? You know the croissant waffles? The quaffles and croffles? Okay, it was then that she spotted a place she could hide, at the end of an alley off to the side, a hatch on the wall that might be a door, or an entrance that wasn't in use anymore. On the wall near the hatch was a kind of a sign. It was hung on the brick with some raggedy twine. The bricks... Whoops. The words on the placard? You're just an imposter. Amogus. Dude, I saw a car. You know how they actually make Among Us plushies now? I saw a car that had like 20 of them on the dashboard. The words on the placard were sloppy and wild, as if scrawled by the hand of an ignorant child. Yet this was a sign that was meant to be read, and these are the words it messily said. Hey, you! That's right, you! Not me, not Hermione, you. One day you'll be as successful as Zane, you'll someday be as much of a Chad as Zane is. Whoever you are, from down on the corner or countries afar, you should actually see the spelling of this. Doc Har with a ton of duck plushies? Dude, there are a ton of them with like Genshin plushies where I live, like Genshin plushies, Honkai. The Among Us was definitely a special case because there was also a lot of Pokemon. I drove by a car that had a sticker of Yoda on the back passenger seat. Back passenger? The back seat? National Game of Canada? True, dude. Tell me why I still have so many friends who are like who rolled for Arlecchino. Yeah, you should see the spelling of this. It's actually like it was written by a child. Whoever you are, from down on the corner or countries afar, we don't give a fig about who you might be, so leave us alone and go leap in the sea. And then if you still have a second to spare, then you might as well drown for all that we care. Cause to us, you're a dog with 2 G's, and you're way off your leash, so beat it, okay? Skedaddle. Capiche? You still want to come in? Well, you're badly mistook, cause you don't want to mess with the gang of McCrook. The alley, however, was terribly dim. The rain was so thick you could go for a swim. The wind was a billowy, blustery gust, and the placard was grubby and covered with rust. So Katrina, of course, didn't notice the sign. She assumed that the doorway was perfectly fine. She splashed to the handle and waggled the latch. A Valorant poet wrote this part, a dog with 2 G's. Inside was a ladder, with rungs in a row, a stairway of steps to the chamber below. But the stairway was crooked and the ladder was cracked, on the verge of collapse as a matter of fact. Descending the stairway, its pilasters shook. They wobbled and quaked like a fish on a hook. I lost where I was on the page. At the bottom, the walls were discolored and bare. and shadows like spirits were haunting the air. Looking around, Katrina could see a booth where you once put a ticketing fee, some rusty old tracks for an underground train, and maps from the past to explain the terrain. Seeing it all, she could fairly deduce this was a station, no longer in use. At this point, Katrina was terribly bushed. She couldn't go on, even if she were pushed. She needed a dwelling for resting her head, a comfortable place she could set for a bed. And after some searching, she spotted a room that wasn't too buried in rubbish and gloom. She lay on the floor on a pillow of stone, feeling wretched, dejected, and completely alone. Oh. But just as she readied herself for a doze, just as her eyes were beginning to close, just as she started to slumber and snooze, she was jolted awake by the thrumping of shoes. Oh. Same girl. For real. Katrina is my soul. What's it called? I resonate with her. Well, came a voice like the squeal of a saw. Hold on. Okay, maybe I can do that again. Well, came a voice like the squeal of a saw. It looks like some joker has broke the law. Perhaps not a certified law of the land. Okay, I'm not gonna do that anymore. I think my throat's cooked. Perhaps not a certified law of the land, but for sure it's the only law we understand. Now, what sort of law am I talking about? About? I just went Texan there, dude. I'm drink some water. Yeehaw. Now, what sort of law am I talking about? The law that says everyone better keep out. Katrina looked up from her place in the scruffs. She was cornered, she saw, by a trio of toughs. Ah, the reading might be too much for old. What's that audio on TikTok? It was all too much for poor old. Something. I might have fucked it up too hard that nobody knows what I'm talking about. No, but we can carry on, okay? I'm not brain rotted to the point where I can't read a fucking book, okay? I got this. I got this. Two boys and a girl who were older than she. A dirty, despicable, criminal 3. The girl was in gumboots, as tall as a chair. in me, they believe. I could start a religion. Become a good old cult leader. Dude, speaking of which, okay, I used to be in an old church, right? It ended up burning down in a fire, but before that, my sister told me that there was a man at her church who had a daughter, and my sister was friends with the daughter, and he ended up strangling her. Again, dude, with these stories from my family where they're just like, oh, haha, like I used to know someone that fucking died. What the fuck, dude? Anyways. Okay, the girl was in gumboots as tall as a chair. She had daggers and knives pinned up in her hair. Her name on the street was Selena the Slash. I know. Like, my sister just told me that it was like years ago. I think at the time I might have been maybe like 6 or 7 maximum. But she told me that she used to know a girl, and her and her father used to go to our church, and he ended up strangling her just for like no reason, and then he turned himself in. I don't fucking know, dude. Her name on the streets was Selena the Slash, and she'd cut off your pants to pilfer your cash. To her left was an impish and rascally scamp, dressed in the rags of a traveling tramp. His name was Sickly, or Sickly Van Puke, and his nose always trickled with gobbledygook. Oh. Ravenlore is always more, but that's what I'm saying, dude. I feel like nobody in my life like takes it seriously. They're always like, haha, like something just happened. I'm like, oh, I'm like about to sob. I'm like, what the fuck did you just say, dude? The last was a ruffian, lofty and tall, as strong as an ox and as wide as a wall, with a look on his face so purple and mean, like a face you might make in a stinky latrine. Katrina concluded with only a look. This last was none other than Bugsy McCrook. Now the gang of McCrook was a miserable mob, for whom robbing you blind was an everyday job. They were known for their violence and criminal feats, for a seedy selection of sinful deceits. from robbery, arson, and pyramid schemes to snatching the mascots from basketball teams. They had once robbed a pet shop of all of its cash, and they never, not ever, recycled their trash. RPG Maker horror game, dude. Me and my sister, we were saying to my mom that she should totally write like a memoir, cause she, maybe it's just like her, like, you know, parents are always like, oh, I used to live such a hard life walking 20 kilometers just to get to school, but like unironically my mom has been through some shit. You know, maybe it could be like a recipe for 乡村辣椒, and it will be like, oh, I used to have a great grandfather whose family got shot in the streets for saying some bad shit about the CCP. Wouldn't that be crazy? Wouldn't that be a New York was it New York Times bestseller? I know who you are, Katrina exclaimed. You're Bugsy McCrook, and you should be ashamed. At your service, said Bugsy. He bent in a bow. I wonder, my dear, what shall we do now? Can I be honest for a second? I remember reading this book when I was like 8 years old, and I remembered saying to myself, I found Bugsy McCrook kind of hot. Oh my gosh, dude. Yeah. At your service. I wonder, my dear, what shall we do now? I know, said the girl in the cumbersome boots. Let's force feed her full of some festering fruits. We can sting her with bees as much as we please. What the fuck is wrong with us, dude? Okay, we can sting her with bees as much as we please. We can scrape up her knees with a grater of cheese. We can jab her with sticks, and if she survives, that's fine. Then we'll stick her with one of my knives. Sickly agreed with insidious glee. You're a genius, Selena. That's easy to see. She must have been blind, ignoring our sign. We'll force her to whinny and whimper and whine. Dude, at your service, dude, I'm actually like actually getting so embarrassed. Okay. Phew. It's okay. Wait, said Katrina. Hold on for a sec. Before you go crazy, start wringing my neck. Before you begin to dissever and maim. Hold on. At least let me tell you my name. Alright, Bugsy sneered. But get on with it, see? Then you'll get your shellacking. And you'll get it from me. Katrina raised up her adorable head. She smiled like an angel. And here's what she said. They call me Katrina. Katrina Cottrell. And I hope you all fall down a bottomless well. Then, like a cat, she sprung to her feet. She spun on her heels to beat a retreat. As she scuttled away, she was granted a chance to give Sickly a kick in the seat of his pants. Selena she tripped with a flick of her foot, which made her go sprawling in rubble and soot. But then at the steps before her escape, she was captured by someone as strong as an ape. Charismatic criminal characters? No, totally, dude. I'm with you. The fucking... Maybe it was because I grew up reading, like, those stupid mafia romances. Hold on, wait, hold on. Brief intermission. Let me see if I can find it, dude. I have to find this. Hold on.
So do you guys remember
No, shut up. Shut up. Why are you talking? Shut up. Hold on. Oh no, where is it, dude? It's in my light, but it's gonna be impossible to find. No, dude. Brief intermission. Where the fuck is it, dude? Oh, do I have to look through my... Hold on. Maybe I'll just look through my liked and we'll be here for like a little moment. But yeah, I used to read like... Oops. I just pressed page up and I lost all my progress. That's okay. I fucking hate myself for liking so many TikToks, dude. But yeah, a lot of like bad romances where they romanticize like mafias and yakuza, and then the girl always gets kidnapped or something, or she's like the daughter of a mafia boss, so she's got power but she's like highly spoiled or like very protected. Where the fuck is it, dude? I just saw 大香蕉，大香蕉，一条大香蕉。Oh, dude, I'm so scared that that I won't be able to find it. Honestly, dude, if I'm born into a family that has a shit ton of money, that I could do whatever I want and then get kidnapped by like a hot counter mafia's like son, and he'd be like, I want you. I'd be like, ooh, tucks hair behind ear, hi. Would I cry and like sob because I'm scared? Oops. Hold on, let me go on. Oop! Let me go on D&D. Please let me find it. Please let me find it. When's Valo? That's a good question. No, dude, I don't. Oh, did I scroll past it? I'm so scared that I scrolled past it. Stockholm Syndrome. Dude, don't people say that Beauty and the Beast is not actually Stockholm Syndrome? Oh no, dude, did I scroll past it? Okay, hold on. Wait, no, that's a sunk cost fallacy. Now I'm worried that I missed it, but I have to keep going because I've already scrolled for so long. It really is. I don't know, I saw an argument where it's not technically by definition Stockholm Syndrome, but I don't know anything about Stockholm Syndrome. I thought it was just if you get kidnapped and then you're like, ooh, my kidnapper is looking kind of hot though. Oh no, dude. I'm actually gonna lose it if I don't find it. If I don't find this one TikTok. Why do I like so much shit? Actually, oh. That's just called the kink. Would you guys fuck Beast or the Prince Beast? Oh no, do you guys want to see something actually like insane? Hold on. Brief intermission. A brief intermission of a brief intermission. This is supposed to be very brief.
I'm passing the phone to someone who has extremely long toe hair and just refuses to shave it. I'm passing the phone to someone who everyone she dates turns out to be gay.
Beast.
I'm passing the phone to someone
Furry,
who used
dude.
to hump their pillow as a child. I'm passing the phone to someone whose boyfriend cheated on them with a man and she still stayed with him after that. I'm passing the phone to someone who puts soap on their finger and then fingers their vagina.
Yo,
I'm passing
dude.
the phone to someone who
Okay,
gets
maybe
addicted
this
to
is a little bit.
crying
Hold on, maybe this is a
literally
little bit too
everything. Look at
NSFW.
her face.
Hold on. Oh god, dude, my oh god, my TikTok. Oh god, hold on. We're actually. Oh god, wait, where the fuck did it go?
I'm passing the phone.
Oh god, dude, shut up. No, dude, no, I lost all my progress. Okay, hold on. Let me look more carefully. Hold on. I'm passing the phone. Dude, the stuff that they said was actually insane. Oh, please let me find it. Actually, I just saw a brick, which made me think of this. I was talking to my sister today. And she was like, when I was dropping her off, we were talking about how thin walls are in North American houses, because she said that her and her boyfriend, they were having trouble like sleeping because my brother is up at 2 a.m. saying shit like fuck, no, and he'll be like screaming because of an Overwatch game, right? And apparently this time her boyfriend really struggled to fall asleep because in Europe all the houses are super duper thick, and in order to get he was putting up a shelf one time and he only had to drill 4 holes, but he spent an entire day with an actual like hammer drill to drill the 4 holes, and then he was really fucking tired after. But whenever you have to install an Ethernet cable here, you drill from like the outside of a house through a layer of brick, through like whatever, but you can do it with an easy like handheld drill. Oh fuck, dude, what was the thumbnail? What was the thumbnail of this one really? I'm hyping it up so much now I don't know if I can find it, dude. I'm passing the phone to someone who Aw. Hermione. I'm gonna pass the phone to someone who's him. And also to someone who can actually do poetry. Come on. Come on. What the fuck did it even look like, dude? Maybe I didn't like it. No, but I'm sure I did, dude. It's literally just a joke about book talk books where it's like, oh, here's what I imagine that mafia bosses are like in all of these books because I've never read them before, and it was like so funny, but like, what if I don't find it, dude? Carried you to immortal. Come on. Oh god. Diabolic lovers? Eat. Okay, you know what? There's this one instead. We'll do brief intermission while I'm trying to look for this shit. This girl is so funny. I don't know who she is. She's so funny. Okay. Come on. Work with me here, TikTok. Help me. I want to take a look-sees? Of course, dude. Except I'm actually in distress. Where the fuck is this TikTok? Oh, I found it. Oh, I found it. I found it. I found it. I can rest. I can finally rest, dude.
Romance books are like, as someone who's never read a single one. Wow, being a Mafia Nepo baby is so great.
This one's really quiet.
The blood money and an impact.
Hold on.
This is what I think Mafia romance books are like, as someone who's never read a single one. Wow, being a Mafia Nepo baby is so great. I get all of the blood money and I'm impacted by none of the crime.
Oh no, I'm getting kidnapped.
Antonio Tortellini, son
Why is it so...
of Cal
Oh god, I
Tortellini,
just liked it again.
being
Oops.
heir to the Tortellini Mafia, my family's rival mafia. Well, if it isn't
Okay, hold on. Oh, no, let me... Shut up, Jazz. For a second.
His Royal Mafia Highness Basil Fettuccine. Chuckles darkly. I didn't think Big Alfredo would let his only daughter walk around unguarded, but I guess yous in the Fettuccine family aren't all that bright. Untie me right now, or else Papa will make you pay. No can do, sweetheart. We'll be holding on
Chuckles
to you
darkly.
until Big Alfredo meets our demands.
You boy laughs at your direction.
Wait, why is he kinda... No, Basil, no, he's your enemy since birth. Or at least your birth, because you just turned 18 and he's like 30?
Age gap.
Doesn't matter. Hey, don't you dare disrespect the boss. Come on, let me at her, boss. No. Nobody touches her but me. Now everybody get out. Her Royal Mafia Highness and I have to chat about respect. We fell in love that night. I'd never felt more alive, especially when he started... 911, what's your emergency?
Hi, yes, I'd like to report a crime. Not gang-related, humanitarian.
Antonio, I know you're holding...
Antonio
friends, but
Fettuccine.
I just feel so safe with you. Yeah, listen, Basil... This is the FBI! What you say? That you only meant well. Well, of course you did. What you say? That it's all for the best. This is what I think Mafia romance...
Yes, that was the TikTok. Oh, I'm so glad I found it. Pew 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 pew. What you say?
Like, this is the FBI. What you say? That you only meant well. Well, of course you did.
What you say? Oh, I'm so glad that I found this TikTok. My heart can rest in peace now. Does it sound like me? Okay, Okay, intermission over. We can return to our Subway Surfers and then we can. Phew. Okay, turn on jazz. Turn on Subway Surfers. Oh god, wait, the video's almost over. Okay, well, we will replay it. Bam! Good job. Phew, okay. Where the fuck? It was Bugsy McCrook. He was already there. He hoisted her up by a handful of hair. Should be Minecraft parkour? Okay, now that I guess we have watched Minecraft parkour gameplay. 30 minutes, an hour and 20 minutes? Skipped highlight. Oh, fantastic. Hold on. Thanks for dropping by, Timothy. Oh, thank you! Thanks, Timothy. Catch you later. Good luck with your games. We'll see how my throat holds up in like an hour. Okay, I got this. Got this. He hoisted her up by a handful of hair. Katrina looked back at her turbulent wake. Selena lay sprawled like a slumbering snake. Her boots were askew and her hair was a mess. There were tatters and tears in her leathery dress. Sickly, meanwhile, was especially glum. He was skulking and sourly rubbing his bum. It's okay. Oh, not it's okay. Okay, Bugsy puffed. We're skipping the bees. You can nix all the sticks and the grater of cheese. Instead, I've decided to skip to the punch. Let's finish her off. Get down to the crunch. Mrs. Katrina Cottrell, say goodbye to your life, because now, as we say, is the time of the knife. Selena provided her terrible blade. It flashed like the games in a penny arcade. She gave it to Bugsy, who grinned like a shark, whose teeth were agleam in a shadowy dark. But before he could act on his odious goals, before he could riddle Katrina with holes, he was stopped by a voice that rose from the gloom and suddenly rippled all over the room. The voice started whistling a musical tune, like a wolf as it croons at the sight of a moon. While yowling a jingle and clapping a beat, the whistler was happily tapping his feet. The tapping grew louder, just off to the right, and then Mortimer Yorgel tripped into the light. Excuse me, he coughed. I got carried away. It happens sometimes. Hey, what can I say? Actually paying attention. This is what you gotta do to get the Zoomer population to actually pay attention to you. Bugsy looked frightened, or startled at least, as he gaped at this creature, this blundering beast. Hello, Morty waved. I don't mean to... Zuko here. I don't mean to intrude. I hope you'll excuse me for being so rude. But I got myself lost, he said with remorse. I don't know where I am. I'm a little off course. Bugsy said nothing. He just ogled and stared. Ogled, and stared. The pig-headed bully was actually scared. His lips began trembling. He started to pout. He tried saying something, but nothing came out. Nothing except for a meaningless peep. The teeniest, tiniest, whiniest peep. The knife in his hand, it fell to the floor, and Bugsy McCrook ran for the door. His minions, Selena and Sickly Van Puke, whose nose was now gushing with gobbledygook, they were equally scared. They ran away too. Up the stairwell they scampered. They practically flew. Why the fuck did it just freeze for a second? What the heck? So Katrina was left, alone with this thing, not knowing what dangers their meeting would bring. But running away, well, it didn't seem right, after Morty had proved himself rather polite. So she put out her hand. It hung there for a while. On her face was a grateful but timorous smile. Drink some water. My name's Katrina, and I'd just like to say... You're watching the parkour while reading SMH, dude? What can I say? Professional ADHD brain? My peripheral vision literally goes like this, dude. One here, and one on my screen. My name's Katrina, and I'd just like to say, thank you for going so out of your way. Those ruffians sure had me under the knife, so I owe it to you for saving my life. Morty reached out with the palm of his paw. They shook, and Katrina was stricken with awe. Who, me? Morty asked. You got it all wrong. I was just passing through. just humming a song. His hands and his fingers were far from the norm. They were furry. Her eyes went They were furry and roughened and toughened and warm. Pleased to meet you, he said. I'm Morty, or Mort. To be honest, I'm not the adventuring Short King. I'm not the adventuring sort. They furry? Yeah, it says right here that his paws, he has fucking paws and they're furry. But they've sent me, it seems, on a sort of a quest, and I've got myself lost. And I'm sort of depressed, and there's no one to help me, he said with a sigh as he awkwardly straightened the knot of his tie. The tie, thought Katrina. It was perfectly plain. It was him, the same face she had seen on the train. You're the thing that I saw, she let out with a squeal. I can hardly believe that you're actually real. Morty looked at Katrina. He furrowed his brow. Oh yeah, on the train. I remember you know. That's how it began, as simple as that. Soon they were chatting and chewing the fat. Is that a metaphor? For like talking? And Katrina could see, in Mortimer's eye, that here was a decent and likable guy. They spoke of their lives above and below, recounting their personal stories of woe. Katrina endeavored to try and explain the insidious perils besetting her brain, how Mrs. Carbone had commissioned a quack to pry at her skull with a crick and a crack. Morty, meanwhile, he spoke of his quest, his lottery ticket, and all of the rest. He mentioned his pup, who was sick as a dog, who sagged in his bed like a moldering log. But mostly he griped about being picked, how to him it appeared as if he'd been tricked. What a joke, he lamented. I haven't a clue how to find any Zorgos in Zorgamazoo. After she listened, Katrina was greatly engrossed. This tale had the stuff she admired the most. A potential adventure. With thrill after thrill, she soaked it all up. She was utterly still. But her belly had butterflies flitting inside. Her breathing had quickened. Her eyes had gone wide. She felt like her body was lit from within. On her face was the subtlest hint of a grin. And so it was then that Katrina Cattrall decided to have an adventure as well. Oh, hold on. Time out. I need to cough. Time out over. Listen, she said, I don't mean to pry, but I'd sure like to give an adventure a try. I've always wanted to travel, to ramble and roam, but old Krabby won't let me. She keeps me at home. So this is my chance. I'm off on my own. I can travel the world, explore the unknown. Morty thought for a moment. He paced in a loop. He went moping and around in sort of a stoop. Wait a second, he said. Are you actually sure? If you join me, who knows what we'll have to endure? Of course, said Katrina. I could give you a hand. I could help you to make it to Zorgama land. I'm good with a map, and I'm quick on my feet. Who knows? Perhaps we are destined to meet. Morty chuckled and smiled. Okay, you can stop. You know, you remind me a bit of my pop. He's nothing like me. He's all gutsy, like you. Oh, and one other thing, it's Zorgamazoo. Actually, it's Zorgamazoo. Fair enough, said Katrina. Now hand me the map. Which he did, and she opened it up in her lap. Look at that fucking... It looks like... Yes, I am sure. How did you know? Phew, okay. I got this. Every inch of the paper was covered with roads, with passages, tunnels, and curious codes. It seemed to be utterly puzzling at first. In no time, Katrina was deeply immersed. Then, all at once, it seemed to make sense, despite being so inextricably dense. I've got it, she said. It's all coming clear. There should be a doorway. Right over here. Look at this, dude. Fucking nuts. She pointed across to a cleft in the wall, a gap that was hardly a doorway at all. It led to a tunnel forbidding and dark, the path onto which they were set to embark. As they vanished inside and into the black, Katrina knew then there was no turning back. Bro just with their jump for real, dude. These professional Minecraft gamers and they're doing shit like that. Okay, chapter 7, The Tunnel of Hush is the illustration. It's Katrina and Morty. If it would focus, come on. Yeah, this guy fucking sucks, dude. It seemed like they had traveled for several days through a network of tunnels and intricate maze. Why is her eyes like that? I don't know, dude. She got gigantic eyes, dude. The tunnel was twisty. It angled around through hundreds of passages under the ground. Going farther, the passage began to ascend. It appeared to go upwards without any end. The climb was so steep that their muscles grew stiff. It seemed they were practically scaling a cliff. Morty, of course, was the first to protest. "This is awful," he cried. "What a terrible quest." Oh, I just saw him go through the wall, go through the water and lag, dude. Hold on. No, maybe there's someone better. Maybe there's someone better. 2 hours? Okay, maybe this guy's better. We'll do this guy instead. Wow, we're so picky. Imagine being picky about who's playing Minecraft parkour. Oh, I would not doubt that for a second. The amount of money that you would make from all these like TikTokers stealing your video, just to be like, I, 18 female, I've gotten into a fight with my boyfriend, 29 male, about our age gap. Is it really that big of a deal? Okay, I lost where I was on the page. Oh, Morty, of course, was the first to protest. That was perfect. Hell yeah. "This is awful," he cried. "What a terrible quest. Say, look at the map. Are we close to the top? I'll tell you, Katrina, I'm ready to flop." Katrina initially didn't respond. She stopped. Reddit text-to-speak Chaz? Yes, you know him. If it's not Minecraft, what else is it? It's like crafting, the 5-minute crafts, or Subway Surfers. The big three of trying to get Zoomers to focus. Katrina initially didn't respond. She stopped, looking up at the tunnels beyond. She consulted the map that was guiding the trip, and lifted a fingertip up to her lip. "Quiet," she whispered. "Don't make a sound. And whatever you do, don't stumble around. We've almost arrived, but this next little bit, it's kind of a doozy, I have to admit." What, like acting included? Oh my, your member is so large. Ugh. Okay. It's marked on the map like a forest of thorns, like a cluster of bristles and thistles and thorns, but they'll be up above us on the roof of a cave. If we want to get through, then we'll have to be brave. They're stalactites, you see, that's what they're called, but these, it would seem, have been badly installed. It says here they're hung with such delicate poise that they'll fall in response to the tiniest noise. So be very quiet, don't hurry or rush. We're about to go into the Tunnel of Hush. The inside of the passage was muffled and dull. It was filled with an ancient, luxurious lull, in which you heard nothing, not even your breath, for the Tunnel of Hush was as silent as death. Stepping into the tunnel, they tiptoed ahead. Morty looked upward with shudders of dread. Stalactites were hung from the ceiling above, like the fingers and thumbs of some terrible glove. Morty was scared. He was looking around, but up at the ceiling and not at the ground. And there, in the dust, just ahead of his boots, lay a raggedy bramble of creepers and roots. So Morty, of course, was hardly prepared when his foot was entangled, his boot was ensnared. To his credit, mind you, he said nothing at all. He just fluttered his arms as he started to fall. He went tumbling, in fact, right smack on his rump, and the action produced a most audible thump. At first there was nothing, no tumble of rocks, no plummeting mountain of boulders and blocks, but then came a noise, just the tiniest sound, a plink of a pebble that fell to the ground. "Run!" cried Katrina. "Get up and let's go! It's the hole of the roof, it's ready to blow." Morty looked up and thought, what have I done? Katrina was right, the barrage had begun. Stalactites were falling like bombs in a war, skewers of granite and marble and more. As Katrina and Morty both hurried ahead, the boulders cascaded wherever they tread. like swords or like sinister sabers of stone, like jagged and tapering splinters of bone. They fell to the floor with smashes and bangs, like a venomous shower of vampire fangs. Quick, cried Katrina, just a little bit more. It's there up ahead, the exit, the door. Each of them saw it, a pocket of light, a patch of the sky that was blindingly bright, which now, in their moment of peril and strife, quite suitably glowed like the promise of life. Meanwhile, the passage was falling to bits, a shattering, clattering, battering blitz. It was then that they made their respective escapes, but not without bruises and scratches and scrapes. They dove from the tunnel and onto a hill, going head over heels in a dizzying spill. They rolled down the slope and muddied their pants, and stopped in a thicket of bushes and plants, where Morty said, "Well, I guess we've arrived," and Katrina, "Guess what? I think we've survived." Katrina, mind you, was a little bit peeved. She didn't seem happy, or even relieved. "Morty, you oaf, you lumbering lout! We're lucky," she cried, "that we even got out. You're klutzy, you're clumsy, you're not very deft. You might have 2 feet, but they're both of them left. And speaking of which, it's because of those feet that we nearly were mashed into hamburger meat." Morty lay still, saying nothing at all. He remained on his back, laid out in a sprawl. "I'm sorry," he said, with gasping fatigue. "This adventuring stuff, it's out of my league." Katrina just scoffed. She was wondering why the Zorgles would choose such a blundering guy to go on a quest with so much at stake. To Katrina, it seemed like a dreadful mistake. Damn, Katrina! Katrina's really getting on his ass. I feel bad. Okay, thinking these thoughts, she started to stand. She took a look round at the lay of the land. The view left her breathless, unable to speak. They were high on the ridge of a mountainous peak, surrounded by trees of the leafiest green, in a place where the air was incredibly clean. Morty stood up. He snuffled the air. He brushed himself off and he straightened his hair. And just as he did so, he spotted a sign nailed to the trunk of a towering pine. Okay, I think we're almost done this chapter. And then maybe we'll take a break. The branches, however, disguised what it read. It was partially hidden. It couldn't be read. Did I read that wrong? The branches, however, disguised what it said. It was partially hidden. It couldn't be read. Only 4 of the letters were able to show: a Z and a G and an M and an O. But Morty could read it, without any doubt. In an instant he easily figured it out. He turned in a circle. He admired the view. "Welcome," he said, "to Zorgamazoo." Very epic. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'll be back. Maybe we'll read... Maybe we can actually read up to 10 chapters in one day. Professional audiobook reader, dude. Okay, I'll be back. Hey, and one day, do you think that I could actually do it? I think I would probably kill my throat. Okay, listen. We're almost halfway through the book. I think chapter 10 is probably halfway through the book. So maybe we'll just read until there. and then take a break. This guy hasn't fallen off yet? He's so much better than the old guy, dude. I'm so glad we changed. It was actually so distracting when the guy missed and he fell into the water. It made me look up from my book. Okay, chapter 8. A Ghost of a Town. When Katrina looked around, looked closer and squinted her eyes, she was suddenly struck by a hidden surprise. Yeah, maybe we'll just aim for half of the book, which I'd say is like pretty good. Nope. That's the illustration. In the Ghost of a Town. Concealed in the bushes and blossoming vines, in the elms and the oaks, in the willows and pines, behind all the branches, behind all the leaves, were doorways and windows and shingles and eaves. "Hello," Morty hollered. "Is anyone here? Or is it just us, plus the rabbits and deer?" But no one called back, because no one was there. The Zorgles were gone, and the question was, where? That, thought Katrina. Katrina! Is what I'd like to know. These countryside Zorgles, where would they go? A whole village of creatures can't fall through the gaps. They can't just suddenly vanish. Or could they, perhaps? "Alright," she proposed. "Let's knock on some doors. Let's look in some windows and open some drawers. It's a mystery, Mort. Like Philip Marlowe. Like Sherlock and Watson or Hercule Poirot." Katrina, you see, was a bit of a buff when it came to detectives and mystery stuff. Morty, of course, he persisted to think that he was a coward, a phony, a fink, completely unfit for mysterious things. He was rather more comfortable off in the wings. But Katrina was right. They should push on ahead. "Alright then, let's search," he reluctantly said. "Great," said Katrina. "Now here's what we'll do. I think that it's best if we split into two." Have you learned nothing from every single horror book? We can cover more ground if we do it that way. It's simply more sensible, wouldn't you say? Before Morty could grumble, well, no, I think not. Katrina went rocketing off like a shot. She was anxious and eager to sniff out the truth, to play the detective, the snooper, the sleuth. Rip. He's gonna get cooked. So Morty alone was just a bit scared. His fingers were trembling, his nostrils were flared. The whole of his face was a panicky frown, because Zorgamazoo was a ghost of a town. Meanwhile, Katrina was deep in the wood, going farther perhaps than she probably should, yet still she kept searching and scampering through to the outermost fringes of Zorgamazoo. She came through the trees before coming to a stop, on the rim of a cliff near a treacherous drop. She stood there a moment, perched out on the ledge, on the verge of the mountain's calamitous edge. He's gonna get op-peaked and died. He's gonna get run down by like a phoenix ult or something. Where was I? Calamitous. That's a word. The view made Katrina feel suddenly free, looking over the city, the hills, and the sea. With her hand, she shielded her eyes from the sun. It started, she thought. My adventure's begun. On the edge of a cliff was a towering tree. It'd grown up as high as Katrina could see, and surrounding the trunk was a spiraling stair, so she climbed it, of course, to see what was there. At the top was a cottage, a cabin of thatch, built into the trunk where the branches wait, I'm suddenly like not being able to read. We'll try that again. At the top was a cottage, a cabin of thatch, built into the trunk where built into the trunk where the branches attach. The door of the cottage was open a crack. It cracked. Hold on. It creaked in the breeze. It hung eerily slack. Pushing open the door, Katrina went in, as a gaggle of goose pimples prickled her skin. Inside, the cottage was thoroughly trashed. The chairs were in splinters. The windows were smashed. The floor had been scuffed. The dishes were chipped. Even the pillows and cushions were ripped. When Katrina saw this, she instantly knew. These were signs of a struggle, and that was a clue. That meant that the Zorgles were kidnapped, of course. They were stolen away. They were taken by force. You would have punched the book by now. Deserved, dude. Why is this so hard to read? Yet this gloomy deduction was only the start. She knew it was only the tiniest part. Why did I say it like that? She knew it was only the tiniest part. Just a droplet of truth in an ocean of doubt. And soon, other questions were starting to sprout. The questions of who, of why, and of how. These countryside Zorgles, where were they now? As she was thinking and wondering why, she heard down below her a whimpering cry. It rose to a pitch that could bring you to tears, by stirring your soul or by splitting your ears. "Who's there?" asked Katrina. "Who's making that sound? Hey Morty, is that you? Quit fooling around." But the wailing went on like the wind in a squall, and Katrina could tell it wasn't Morty at all. The howling resounded inside of her head like a ghostliest, ghastliest wail of the dead. It was then that she knew it was time to admit. She and Morty perhaps, well, they shouldn't have split. After all, there she was, unaided alone, with only this eerie, ethereal moan. But in spite of her doubts, she valiantly tried to quell her misgivings, push panic aside, as she climbed from the tree and down to the ground to seek out the source of this whimpering sound. Dumbass bitch, you shouldn't have slid up. Real dude, you should have listened to Morty. Now she's gotta deal with this crying thing. At the bottom, she followed the noise to the edge of a thicket, an almost impassable hedge. Shaking my head, I'm wiggling my finger. Look at how, dude, how can you be like better at this? This is kind of hard. Okay, at the bottom, she followed the noise to the edge of a thicket, an almost impassable hedge. The branches were dense, so impossibly thick that the bramble was virtually made out of brick. The sound as she stood there, it started to change. It sounded less eerie, less fearsome and strange. Drawing nearer, she realized it wasn't so bad. It wasn't so scary, just incredibly sad. "Hey," said Katrina, "you sure gave me a scare, but why are you crying? What's the trouble in there?" Whatever it was, it let out a yowl, a sob that was more like an animal's growl. At this point, Katrina assumed that she knew. This must be a Zorgle from Zorgamazoo. "Hey, listen," she said, "and please understand, my friend and I came here to give you a hand." Into your Asian parent disappointment. For me, it would have been more like, if you didn't get a 90, I don't get to eat instant noodles for like a month. No, my instant noodles. Where the fuck was I? Okay. The creature, however, did nothing but groan. It let out its loudest, most miserable moan. "Okay," said Katrina, "I can hear you're upset. I know I'm a stranger, we've only just met, but perhaps you can help me. I'm asking you, please. Could you do me a favor? Come out of the trees." But the creature was stubborn. It bellowed some more, with a moan that was quickly becoming a roar. Horrible punishment, I know! As a child, all I wanted to do was eat instant noodles. You know the 2X spicy buldak? Apparently my brother just like eats that regularly now and he doesn't have a fiery asshole after. Maybe I'm getting old. Maybe I'm getting old and my digestive system is getting weaker. Eating buldak is kind of hard now. Old. 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 It's me, dude. Old. What was it? The creature was stubborn. It bellowed some more, with a moan that was quickly becoming a roar. "Fine," said Katrina. "Just have it your way. You can whimper and snivel and bellow and bray. You can sputter and blubber and kick up a din. But if you don't come out, then I'm coming in." And so with a shove and a thrash and a push, she scraped her way in, through the bramble and bush. Inside was a creature. It was curled in a ball, but it wasn't a Zorgle. Oh, no, not at all. It was hardly a Zorgle from Zorgamazoo. No, this thing was bigger. And hairier, too. Okay, chapter 9. We're almost at chapter 10. That's what she said. No, dude. No, dude. That's fucked up. Okay, chapter 9. A Wendigo Beast. The creature, it seemed, was a heaping of curls, its tresses the color of luminous pearls. "Leave me alone," cried the mountain of hair. Waffle. Come on. "You leave me alone or I'll eat you, I swear. I'll simmer your blood. I'll pick your... Picker? I'll simmer your blood. I'll pickle your legs. Your eyeballs, I'll fry them like Mexican eggs." This is the Wendigo, by the way. She's got a cute, like, ponytail situation happening. Well now, such violence, such ominous threats. Let me tell you, good reader, it gives me the sweats. Threats such as these, if they ever persist, they should not be ignored or simply dismissed. Fucking huevos, dude. That's bomb. For example, if someone approached you one day, some hairy and menacing monster, let's say, supposing this monster came over and said, "Pardon me, would you mind if I boiled up your head?" Well, first you should scream, then you should run, because boiling one's head, well, it isn't much fun. So perhaps you'd assume that Katrina Cottrell would run away screaming and yelling as well. You want it? Okay, hold on. Hold on, brief intermission. I'll also search up Mexican eggs. Huevos rancheros? Oh, you know what this looks like? It looks like shakshuka. Ooh. Yeah, dude, that looks good. You want? I also want. I actually had tomato and eggs stir-fried together, the Chinese stuff, with some brown rice because I'm trying to be healthy. They're really good. They look so good. Honestly, anything with like tomato and eggs is just like very good. So perhaps you would assume that Katrina Cottrell would run away screaming and yelling as well. Any good Mexican places in Canada? A lot of burrito places. Not a lot of places are like you sit down and you eat. A lot of them are just fast food, like a pita pit. Pita pit. There's like burrito. I don't remember the name, but it has burrito in it. There's like 5 different places I can remember that just have burrito in the name, and they just sell burritos. It's tragic out here. If you want good Mexican food, you gotta go to like some random place out in Oshawa or something. But no, that was not what our heroine did. She didn't run off or go flipping her lid. She stayed where she was. She was perfectly still. "Sorry," she said, "but I don't think you will." The creature looked up. There were tears in its eyes, while under the tears was a look of surprise. "Oh no," said the beast as it rose to its feet. "Just come a bit closer. You'll see what I eat." The creature stood up and Katrina could see. She barely came up to the top of its knee. Here down south, real, dude. I would totally go down to Mexico, if only just for the food. Burrito? Yeah, there's a place called, there's a chain called Fat Bastard Burrito, and I think it's like a white person burrito chain, and they sell like, they give you like nachos and burritos, and I think that's more or less it. I order from time to time when it was mostly like a year ago when I was like in school and hella depressed and I didn't want to cook anything for myself. I'm glad we've moved on past the burritos. This creature was big, no, bigger than big, and covered with hair like a velvety wig. It had sinewy arms and a generous shape, resembling some sort of unusual ape. Its shoulders were sloped, its knuckles were long. It might as well have come from the kingdom of Kong. What is an Asian burrito but a giant egg roll? You're getting really philosophical, Waffle. No, but truth be told, the last time I had egg rolls at like it was like the friend get together where you had to bring something that started with the first letter of your first name. Someone brought egg rolls and I didn't really like them. They're kind of soggy, which I guess like isn't her fault. It was just because we were spending too much time getting all the food together. But what made young Katrina ogle and stare, ogle, were the ribbons and bows in the animal's hair. "You're a girl!" she exclaimed. It came out in a shout. It was such a surprise, she just blurted it out. "So what?" said the beast. "And what about you? Maybe you hadn't noticed, but you're a girl too. And girlies like you I usually squish, because girl a la mode is my favorite dish. You see, my name is Winnie. I'm a Wendigo beast." Ooh, that starts with a Z. Zucchini? What else is there? Hold on, my mic is slipping. Huge egg roll video on YouTube? Honestly, what the fuck is Canadian cuisine? We only have like poutine and that's it, and then everything else is like super like cultural. What the fuck even is Canadian cuisine? You see, my name is Winnie. I'm a Wendigo beast. I'm the fiercest in all of the West and the East. You'll bring a little zucchini. No, like you could grill it a little bit, and then you could just say, "I brought a zuck." Wish my little plushie was getting cooked. Oh, is it true that like as a Canadian I'm supposed to like Drake? I don't think I've ever liked Drake music, cause there was that one where it's like, just hold on, we're going home. And the problem with that I had it with all of Drake's music is that you brought Mark Zuckerberg, the lizardman himself. No, it would play on the radio too much and then I'd get sick of it. This is at a stage where like Spotify was pretty uncommon. You wouldn't really have like Spotify to listen to, so you couldn't select your own music. So in order to listen to music, you had to listen to the fucking radio, and the radio sucks balls with ads and like, oh, here's our winner of the day, Mr. like Edward, he just called in. And he'll be like, hey, so dude, my name's Edward, and I'm so excited to have won this $20 cash prize or this like gift card to, I don't know, fucking like McDonald's. You hate the radio? Same. I have not listened to the radio. Actually, that's a lie. When I was driving, intermission. We can take a little break. So when my sister was here, we took a little like drive out to a city that's north of us called Barrie. And the situation with my car is that my aux cord has stopped working. So in order to circumvent that, I bought a little Bluetooth to FM transmitter off Amazon. So I have to hook it up to a specific radio station in order to listen to my own music. But then on the way there, I didn't know how to change the station, because on the way to Barrie, all of a sudden we started picking up another radio station, so we couldn't listen to our music anymore, and I was like so sad. And then I googled the instructions after we got off, and like everything was good. But yeah, I fucking hate the radio, dude. Like even the 15 minutes that we didn't have music for, I was so bored. The music that they played, it was so bad, dude. It was so boring. It was so like, it was Drake, dude. It was normie shit. Okay, said Katrina. Sure, I understand. Then she took a step forward and put out her hand. Well, my name's Katrina. Katrina Cottrell. It's a pleasure to meet you. Here's wishing you well. Ah, cried the beast. Get away from me, kid. You come any closer, you'll regret that you did. Come on, said Katrina. You might act like a brute, but you're not fooling me. See, I'm pretty astute. You're not really so vicious, not really so bad. Any nitwit could tell. You're just kinda sad. Oh, really? Said Winnie. And should I be impressed? You think I'm unhappy? Unhappy? Happy. Barbie World by Aqua is a masterpiece, true. Your data was cut and you paid it, but you had to wait like an hour? Dude? Nightmare, dude. Nightmare. Yeah, you can DM it to me or like send it in chat, and we can do another brief intermission where we watch a video. You think I'm unhappy? You think I'm depressed? That I lie around weeping all day and all night? Well, listen here, Missy. You're perfectly right.
Chicken fried rice, General Town chicken, Cantonese.
What happened to Epic Mealtime?
Big ass egg roll.
Walk Cafe, best General Town chicken.
I also completely forgot that Epic Mealtime is a Canadian.
Next level walk moves with the noodles and the vegetables.
Okay, hold on. Wait. Let me pause the jazz music so we can watch this in all of its full glory.
Cantonese style chow mein. General Tao sauce, the love child of sugary sweetness.
13 years ago, yeah. This is real Canadian nostalgia.
Chicken fried rice,
Chicken fried
Sick walk
rice.
move. Soy sauce. Whoa, sick walk move again. Dumplings. You
Dumplings?
Son of a bitch. All these foods from China.
Okay, well, from China.
Custom egg roll batter. A little bit of egg roll trimmings. We're about to pack this egg roll with more Chinese than China itself.
Wait, what did you just say?
Chinese than China. The egg roll trimmings. We're about to pack this egg roll with more Chinese than China itself.
More Chinese than China. So, yeah, listen here, mister. I'm about to. Oh, fuck, I just pressed page down. No, dude, where did I go, dude? What the fuck? My book just slammed over on it.
We wrapped it up.
I'm about to go like this. What the fuck you mean there's more China in China than China?
Epic egg roll.
Oh my gosh.
Peanut butter dumplings, General Tao chicken, Cantonese style chow mein, chicken fried rice. Doing Chinese food in a big way. And we got a goon to eat it.
Is that alcohol on the table with them? Oh my gosh. Oh, with the beard too. With the beard.
Ferrero Rocher chocolate crumble giant fortune cookie covered in gold shavings. Real gold, because we do our fortune inside and outside the cookie. What you know about fortune?
Oh my gosh. Oh, I forgot that bacon was their entire thing. Ew, ew, ew. That's what. Ew, I know, dude. What the fuck are these close-ups into the mouth? No, but low-key, this was mukbang before mukbangs were popular. What the fuck, dude? Holy shit. Okay. What the fuck, Waffle? Canada has epic mealtime. We have, oh god, who do we even have who's like normal, dude? Epic mealtime. We have, I guess, Disguised Toast, even though they're all in LA now. Pokimane. Pokimane was a McMaster graduate or something. And XQC. Fucking XQC, man. Holy shit. Okay. Okay, Winnie went back to her bellowing moans, to her blubbers, her whimpers, her grumbles and groans. Please, said Katrina, just cool it, calm down. Your tears are so thick I could practically drown. Just take a deep breath and try to relax. Then tell me what happened. I'm after the facts. JB, you know what? I can't believe I forgot the man of the hour who I made an entire website for. Justin Bieber's biggest fangirl.co.uk.net or something. The Zorgles who live here, where did they go? Because I've got a hunch that maybe you know. Did I really? Yes. I had to make a website. I've talked to you guys about this before. I had to make a website in like grade 2 or something. And Justin Bieber just released Baby. And all the girls were like also naming their domains. I don't even know if it's a thing anymore, Waffle. I think it was like, oh, I don't even remember. Oh, that's so embarrassing though. All of us girls were so like infatuated with Justin Bieber. I don't even know if I was like into him that much. I think I just did it because all the other people did it because I give in to peer pressure so easily. All the girls were like, you have to make your website after Justin Bieber because Justin Bieber is so hot and he's so cute and he's so great. Oh my gosh. All right, wait, my jazz. Hold on, my jazz. The Zorgles who live here, where did they go? The Ravenlore you were not expecting. I feel like there's definitely worse. Definitely worse lore. And you know, this is why I don't have an about me. That says like anything remotely about like what I've been through or who I am or who I'm supposed to be. Cause like, how the fuck am I supposed to play a character when like all I talk about a boot? Canada. Gonna make food? Sure thing, Zane. Your about me is barely anything at all. Yeah. I mean, Listen, the lore, you gotta stay tuned to learn about it. I'll just say that. The Zorgos who live here, where did they go? Because I've got a hunch that maybe you know. Was it some sort of magic, or maybe a curse? Were they kidnapped by pirates or burglars, or worse? The Zorgos, wept Winnie. I remember them well. My friends, she said sadly. Aw, gee, they were swell. Which is why it's so awful about the attack. They were eaten, Katrina. They'll never come back. They ate every Zorgol in Zorgamazoo. They ate everyone up. And my family, too. Water? Thanks. Does my throat sound fucked up? I'm really going through it right now. Otters! Yes, sir. They had tentacles. Tentacles, wings, they had terrible claws, and they'll eat us up too with their slobbery jaws. Before Winnie could finish, before she... You'll see, you'll see, you'll see. Listen, we can't have all the spoilers yet about what has tentacles. Before Winnie could finish, before she could try, she stopped because something went crackle nearby. Oh, the emphasis on tentacle. Yeah, I had to pause for that one. Had to pause for Bugsy McCrook, and for tentacles. They're back, Winnie sniveled. We're done for. We're doomed. We'll be eaten, Katrina. Devoured. Consumed. Then came a voice. It was husky and gruff. I found you, it wheezed, with a huff and a puff. To Winnie, Katrina seemed terribly brave, as she held up her hand in a casual wave. Katrina, of course, knew that nothing was wrong. Hi, Morty, she said. What took you so long? Morty said nothing. He had stopped where he was, when he spotted that whimpering tower of fuzz. Katrina, he whispered. I think we should go. That thing's not a Zorgol. Or didn't you know? Katrina just laughed. Don't be silly, she said. There's nothing to fear and nothing to dread. Morty, meet Winnie. She's a Wendigo beast. She's the fiercest in all of the West and the East. Hi there, said Morty. He gave her a wave. Hello, Zuko here. He was trying his best to be stoic and brave. Winnie looked up. You're a Zorgol, she said. But I thought you were eaten. I thought you were dead. She came forward to Morty like a lumbering rug and hoisted him up for a muscular hug. Okay, Morty gasped. It's true, I'm alive. But if you squeeze any tighter, I doubt I'll survive. You poor thing, Winnie sniffled. How awful for you, after all that has happened to Zorgamazoo. Then she loosened her grip. She put Morty down, and her face once again tumbled into a frown. She sniffed through her nose. She grimaced, and then her eyes started going all teary again. Okay, cried Katrina. Enough is enough. I'm tired of this miserable whimpering stuff. She was glaring at Winnie right dead in the eye. Just tell us what happened, and try not to cry. So Winnie was brave. She began to recall, in every detail, no matter how small, all that had happened and all that she knew of the terrible story of Zorgamazoo. Okay, we're at chapter 10. We're at chapter 10. Let's fucking go. Chapter 10, A Terrible Tale. There's no illustration for that one, for this chapter. That kind of blows. Ugh. Okay. In order, my reader, to finally learn every terrible twist, every terrible turn of Winnie the Wendigo's terrible tale, you must study yourself. Let courage prevail. 3 hours? Yo! Okay, you know what? 3 hours to get through half the book? Does the book really only take 6 hours to read? That's kind of insane. Or maybe I'm just too fast. Winnie, you see, was rather a mess in telling her tale, as maybe you'd guess. She sniffled a lot, and you should understand she was wiping that snot on the back of her hand. So I'll spare you the boogers. I'll runny and warm, and I'll give you her story in summary form. The Wendigo usually travel in packs. They're especially careful to cover their tracks. They live in the roughest, most mountainous lands and scavenge the cliffs with their family clans. That's how Winnie was. She was rather the same. She lived with the clan of her family name. Take you longer to finish a book? Well, I mean, your book probably had... Oop, spoiler. Book definitely has more writing than this. I feel like a good quarter of the book of the page is like empty. That's okay. That's okay. That's how Winnie was. She was rather the same. She lived with the clan of her family name, together and thin, with her cousins, uncles and cousins, her kith and her kin, and bigger and hairier. Winifred Windigo Thistle McPaw, or Winnie of course, as you already saw, lived on the ridge of a forested peak near the banks of a hold on, wait, I'm actually struggling to read. Okay. Lived on the ridge of a forested peak near the banks of a lazy, meandering creek. The creek overflowed to the valley below, and perhaps you might guess where the water would go. It flowed over rocks with its watery blue to a pond in the middle of Zorgamazoo. So after a morning of hiking around, traversing the cliffs and the mountainous ground, the Windigo clan would visit their friends at the pond where the waterfall finally ends. To get... What? Okay, hold on. You know that thing where like you read a word that's like a line down or a line above and then you're like hella fucking confused? Cause like what the fuck? Okay, you see, countryside Zorgles and Windigo folk go together as well as a laugh and a joke. And whenever together in Zorgamazoo, do you know what the Zorgles and Windigo do? Well, let me say this, in all of my days, and in all of my study of Windigo ways, the fact that I find to be oddest of all is that Windigo loved to play Zorgly ball. Even Winnie herself, when she wasn't depressed, was a batter who batted as well as the best, and that's what she did on the terrible day when the countryside Zorgles were stolen away. Winnie's own team, the Growlers by name, came down from the cliffs for a sociable game. When Winnie arrived, she was limber and spry, with a spring in her step and a gleam in her eye. She arrived with her uncle and auntie as well, on a day when the weather was perfectly swell. You hold your bookmark across the page. You know what? I remember I used to do that. Did you used to have those like book fairs where they had the paper like bookmarks with a flap at the top and then you could hook it on? Should we move like that? It's okay. It's okay. You know what? I got this. The Zorgles were waiting, the meadow was groomed, the uniforms pressed, the equipment perfumed, the goggles were polished, the bases were buffed, while up in the bleachers the cushions were fluffed. Every helmet was buckled up under a chin, and at last it was time for the game to begin. The competition was stiff, the athletics intense. There were several hits that went over the fence. One team would score, then the other would lead, as they flew around the bases with flippery speed. It was late in the bottom of inning 16 when the crowd had gone silent and oddly serene. Chug some water. The fate of the game was still up for debate, and that was when Winnie stepped up to the plate. On the mound was a Zorgle of legend and fame, so famous you've probably heard of his name. He was Cyril the Slinger Zib Zorgle the Young. The hash slinging slasher. I could throw down that. Dude, I've Arthur fisted so many times this stream. My throat's gonna be so fucked up tomorrow. Imagine I don't stream tomorrow because I'm like, yo, untrimmed, sure. Okay, maybe I'll stretch as well. Big stretch. Ew, dude, my back just cracked. Fucking disgusting. Oh. Hi, Akuma. Let me take a... Okay. Intermission over. He was Cyril the Slinger Zip Zorgle the Young, the finest of flingers that had ever flung. But Cyril the Young wasn't young anymore. Yeah. We've been really getting through it, dude. Look at how much we're through. For some reason, there's like this one part of the book where I think maybe I fucked it up like 10 years ago. Well, we won't worry about that. But Cyril the Young wasn't young anymore. He had grey in his hair and his shoulders were sore. His bones, they were old, they ached with fatigue, and he no longer played in the Zorgledom League. Yet still when he pitched, when he threw, when he hurled, he was still the best flinger in all of the world. He stood on the mound, he pounded his glove. For him, this whole game was a labor of love. He kicked up some dust, he chewed on his lip. On the Zorgly ball, he shifted his grip. Then he lifted his leg from the place where it stood, and he slung and he flung just as hard as he could. The ball soared away, and in 1 second flat, Winnie let loose with a crack of her bat. The ball, like a rocket, went higher than high. It became just a speck in the blue of the sky. It went into a cloud that was hanging about. It went into the cloud, but it didn't come out. Out of the sky came an ominous hum, then a clatter as if from the beat of a drum. But without any rhythm, without any flair, like the growl of an engine in need of repair. In an instant, the noise grew incredibly loud, and it came, so it seemed, from the gathering cloud. The players looked up, they shielded their eyes. The cloud was expanding to cover the skies. Then all at once, the cloud disappeared, and there in the air, when it finally cleared, humming and hovering up in the breeze, were creatures that buzzed like a bumble of bees. But bees are so tiny, just wee little shrimps. Like me. These creatures, however, were bigger than blimps, and each like an octopus fitted with wings, with tentacles twisting like rubbery strings. The tip of each tentacle ended in claws, looking anxious to nourish these animals' jaws. They hung in the air for a second or two, then dropped from the sky over Zorgama Zoo. They chased over players on both of the teams, eliciting panic and hideous screams. The creatures, it seemed, in their terrible way, thought Zorgama Zoo was a dinner buffet. They would scoop up a Zorgle, sometimes even two, and the Wendigo players before they were through. They snapped them all up in their pincers and claws, and greedily sprinkled them into their jaws. There's some fucking consumption happening right now. Even Winnie herself was caught in a claw, but was thankfully saved by her Auntie McPaw, who shouted to Winnie, "You give 'em your all. Winnie, you hit some, like you did with that ball." Winnie did just as her auntie had planned. She still had that Zorgly bat in her hand. So the moment the beast had her up in the sky, she prodded the thing in its yellowy eye. The creature was stunned. Oops. It floundered around. It bobbled with Winnie, who fell to the ground. She landed with luck in a cushiony bush, and softened the blow with her cushiony tush. "Good girl," cried her uncle. "Now Winnie, you hear? You stay in that bush. Stay out of the clear." Winnie complied, staying out of the way, while the others were keeping the creatures at bay. Yet though they had fought back with a spirited fight, they were hardly a match for the animal's might. So that was how Winnie had come to survive, while watching her family swallowed alive. What the fuck, dude? Having eaten, the creatures leapt up in the sky, and then Winnie the Wendigo started to cry. To Morty, the story was rather inane, but before he began to protest or complain, there was one little detail he wanted to check. "Wait a minute," he said. "Now hold on a sec. You mean Cyril the Young, the best of the best? If you were playing with him, then I'm pretty impressed. His flings were like lightning. Oh man, he could throw. Used to play for the Underwood Titans, you know. My pop used to take me. We'd go to their games. I knew all of the players, knew all of their names. But my favorite, of course, was that Cyril the Young, the greatest of flingers that ever has flung." "You're right," Winnie sniffled, her eyes going damp. "There's nobody like him. He was truly a champ. But what does it matter? I mean, Cyril is dead. He was eaten, remember? It's just like I said." "I don't know," Morty said. "It sounds hard to believe. It's really too horrid to even conceive. You say flesh-eating monsters? From up in the sky? I won't be convinced, so don't even try." Damn. Morty's being kind of an asshole, saying like, "Oh, I don't believe you. I think you're just trying to gaslight me into thinking that all of your friends are like not all of your friends got fucking eaten." Katrina, however, was sure it was true. She didn't know why. It was simply she knew. She had only to look into Winifred's eye to see it was real and that it wasn't a lie. "But Morty," she said, "Winnie's being sincere. She witnessed it all. She was hiding right here. And now a big part of the mystery is solved, now that we know there are monsters involved." "Monsters?" said Morty with a tremor of doubt. He hated to think there were monsters about. "Believe me, Katrina, and I have to insist, creatures like that, they don't really exist." Winnie sucked in a breath. She held up a hand. "Mr. Morty," she stammered, "you don't understand." Morty ignored her. He was shaking his head. He folded his arms and dismissively said, I've seen all sorts of weirdness since I was a kid, but never a flying carnivorous squid. Winnie covered her eyes. She grimaced and frowned. Oh, Morty, she whimpered. Then don't turn around. There followed a horrible, ominous hum, and a clack like a raspy mechanical drum. It was one of the creatures that Morty denied, and so as he turned, his eyes going wide, he realized too late that the creatures were real, and that he and his friends would be their next meal. And so, before Winnie or Morty could speak, before even Katrina could utter a shriek, all three were ensnared in those terrible claws, and tossed into the creature's insatiable jaws. Yeah, okay, you know what? Chapter 11, I think we're gonna call it for tonight. And pray that my throat isn't too fucked up when I wake up. Well, okay, hold on, let me hide the fucking brain rot. And let's see if anyone's online tonight. Ah! Hold on. TBH for real, on God, dude. I'm trying my best. What the fuck is this? The schedule is live. Plan your weekend in Rotterdam. TwitchCon? Where the fuck is Rotterdam? Rotterdam. Netherlands? Did you guys ever think about going to TwitchCon? It sounds kind of cringe to me, not gonna lie. Hold on. You guys want to watch Omori? We got Omori, Valorant, more Valorant. Ew, TwitchCon, I know. I'm with you, dude. Okay, you know what? We're gonna call it. And maybe I'll drink some tea and call it a night. Let's try to finish it tomorrow. You know what? We made such good progress in 3 hours, and we got distracted by TikTok and like some other shit. Epic mealtime, more bacon. Okay, well, I'll see you guys tomorrow then. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe we'll see. Bye. 07. Bye bye. Good night, Andre.